ooh, look at her firing us up. I love it. The show starts. First thing we see is Tevin yawning.
Come on, Tevin.
Early.
You guys have the worst presence. We're going to have to
early.
cut off the video. It just doesn't work.
Frankly, I'm just excited that everything's working.
Right. Yeah, well, there is that.
AJ's pumped.
Start the day yesterday, and now we can just ease right into the weekend. I cannot wait.
Now, why does that happen? I don't understand why that keeps happening. Is it because it's used by different people to do different things?
I think it's just a cluster of technology and just superior radio power coming out of the Hubbard building. So with so much success, stuff's going to go wrong at some point, but it's not about stuff breaking. It's how you fix it and how you bounce back, Tom.
Well, once you settle down there, miracle worker. So now I'm looking. I look at the screen. I got Tevin yawning, and I'm looking up, and Brittany's leaning on her hand like she's going to doze off. This is great. Way to excite the audience.
Okay, first off, I knew you were going to say that.
Here.
There we go.
Okay. I knew you were going to say that. And it's so funny because I feel like I'm leaning in and very much so eyes are open. But one time I used 2 and you told me I was falling asleep, which is not even remotely close.
But it looks like you are.
Just want me to be like a crackhead face the whole time?
No, just put your hands on your lap like the rest of us. Why? Just because you're a crackhead, you get that face anyway.
Yeah, Brittany, you're like Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Ricky
I need another mug. I need 2 mugs.
I haven't heard Ricky. Oh, you know why you don't have another mug? Because Gelfand took them all home.
Yeah, rest in peace, mugs.
You take another one yesterday?
He
had his own paper coffee cup yesterday.
All right.
I do have 2 from the launch party.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Mugs.
No,
like 1.
We were given 2. I was given a bunch from the launch party, and they never were from the studio. I just want a full disclosure.
Who gave?
Why would you?
Ross.
You didn't bring that up.
I don't know, because I'm a diseased brain. Because
I like coffee cups at home. None of them were ever at the studio, but I just want you to know.
I promised one to my mom, and I promised one to my mother-in-law. So sorry,
No, that's good. I like that part of it. Gelfand takes him home to finish his coffee and then never brings him back.
And then I get an email a week from a listener. I can't remember who off the top of my head who would like to purchase one. And I've told him at some point in my life, next time we have a party and Ross gives me extra mugs, I will get one for him.
Ross.
Yeah.
I like Ross. Ross is a good guy.
Lovely. Cat dad.
He's a cat dad?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
I hear about Laney Lou, his cat, all the time.
Laney Lou?
Laney Lou.
Okay. What is Laney Lou? Is that like somebody he knew or something?
Just his, I think, diabetic cat. He's got some sort of ailment.
What? I didn't know cats could get diabetes. Is that true?
I know there's some sort of, this cat's a bit old and there's a lot of, shots Laney Lou is on.
Hey, whatever works. I just love the fact Governor Tim Walz, now he's in Australia. Why is he in Australia? Oh, it even says in the deal, why Australia? It even says it in the story.
He's improving Aussie-Minnesotan relations.
Oh,
We're
well.
garnering a peace treaty and trade agreement.
He's trying to get more Outback Steakhouses here.
Yes.
Some bloomin' onions.
Good day, mate.
A little blooming. I remember the first time I ever went to an Outback Steakhouse was in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I enjoyed it so much, I went back and talked to the owner, and I said, if you guys ever franchise, let me know, because I'd love to buy one of your franchises. He said, well, we're quite a ways away from that. All of a sudden, there were 20 of them in Minnesota. Never got the call.
Yeah, well, I mean, you probably dodged a bullet, because are they even still around anymore?
Oh, I think so, aren't they?
Yeah, but
I don't know, I guess.
With something like that, Tom, and you can tell me if this is a Josh Arnold question or inappropriate to ask people, at something like that you buy a bunch of, do you usually sell them then before things go awry, or do you
You can't really tell when things are going awry. That's the problem.
Okay.
No, so far it's been, we've opened a couple of places that aren't open anymore. It's I suppose about a 50-50 deal. Some of them do well and some don't.
When you do something like that, do you take a loss, or is it you can break
take a big loss?
Okay.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. I mean, not as big as trying to help people out when they're in need, like down in, Mississippi and all that after the hurricane.
Yeah.
All they do is steal your money. That's what they do. You try to help them out and you send them some money to help, and they just steal it. It's unbelievable.
I think it's what I've learned from you is, man, if you're not close to a situation, it will fall apart.
Even if you are,
I know.
run the other way. Yeah, go the other way. It's a massive pain in the ass, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. People and money. People are so weird about money. Oh my God, it's money. Oh God, look at that. There's money. Relax. Why don't you go out and get off your ass and get a job? You get money for doing that.
Yeah, but it's like every day.
Yeah, you got to show up and do stuff every day.
Ugh.
So horrible.
So much work.
What happened to the American work ethic? There used to be an American work ethic.
I think it's still there. It's just changed.
Do you?
Yeah. And especially because nowadays, when you have a job, your employer is actively always trying to see how much work you're willing to do without getting paid the proper amount.
There's that money grubbing again.
No, that's a like factual. If you have a job,
That's money grubbing.
Is that though?
No, like if I'm an employee and I'm working at McDonald's and they go, hey, you're going to work the cash register. We're going to pay you $18 an hour. And you go, cool, works for me. And then they go, hey, we also now need you to go in the back and make fries
Right.
and burgers and go clean the bathroom and they keep adding stuff to it. And you're like, well, can I get a raise? And they're like, nah, we don't.
We'll talk about
So
it.
then that's why you have people going on strike because they're like, hey, when we took the job, we were doing here was our list of duties for this amount of money, and now you want to add more things, and
Yeah.
we see that the company's making money, but I'm not making money.
No, you always have to know that the only advocate for yourself is yourself. And it's like with any boundaries.
So that's a
it-
huge problem.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were done. Sorry. Yeah,
Oh
it's-
no, you're fine. No, I jump in. But like it's one of those things where, like Tom, I always think about like what advice would I give Go-Go, or like what advice would you give Alex and Andy? And it's like you have to advocate for yourself, and and maybe the strike is the option. And like corporations, they will keep doing the status quo unless like something said. And there's something to be said where people don't always know how to advocate for themselves until they like lose their minds and run off. But-
Well, one of the problems we do have is I don't think I've ever seen an American population that is so incredibly self-involved and lazy. People are much lazier than they used to be.
I don't know if that's true. I think
Oh, it's a fact. believe
okay,
me.
maybe it translates as lazy. How about we agree? Let me give this scenario. It may translate as lazy, but could you see the side that millennials and Gen Z, they are in a situation where they're not guaranteed a house, a job. There's no stability. They could work really hard. They could have you could have two incomes working their butts off and they still can't afford a mortgage. Like the system is very frustrating. And so when the system feels very frustrated, people give up and go, well, then what am I doing? Why am I doing all this extra stuff? Kind of like Tevin was talking about.
Yeah, because I had a job where you go above and beyond. Oh my gosh, look at all these improvements you can make, and then you go, all right, well now it's time for me to be rewarded for all this extra things that I've been doing, and then they're I don't know about that. So then you get that pushback where employees now are like, I'm doing my job. And I don't care if the rest of everything burns down to the ground. And if you think I'm lazy because I'm not willing to go bail out all my other terrible employees or whatever else.
I don't think anybody believes that. Maybe they do. I don't.
But yeah, people are more of the mindset is, and this is my job. I'm going to do my job because my employer isn't going to go out of their way to help me. So I'm not going to go out of my way to help them.
But nobody ever finishes their work. And by the way, you asleep again?
No. I'm listening. Why, when I was what? Oh, okay. I'm trying not to lean on my hand.
Highly offensive.
It's bugging you. I can see that.
She's sleeping.
I'm so not. I'm very interested in what you're going to say.
We're gonna get like a workout strap that we can screw into the ceiling that you can just like rest your head in there and then not have to worry about your
I have
hand.
such bad posture. I'm working
But in
on
any case, what you were saying, that's always been true. That the mortgages were always out of line, far too high price for most people. What you're talking about is nothing new. That's always been there. Where you've been expected to do more for very little money. That's just one of those situations.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. The biggest problem I have with Americans right now, maybe it's the whole world, I don't know, is a lot of people never finish their work. They do their work, but they never finish it. And that's the part that drives me nuts.
I completely understand what you are saying because I sometimes fall into that hole as well, where sometimes if somebody doesn't give me a hard deadline, I find myself pushing that to a weird spot. So it's like almost like I need people to be a little bit of a dick when it comes to like if we were casual about our start time, like we're going to start around 8, I don't know what time I'd roll in. Like sometimes I need that formal, hey, this has to be finished. And I don't always like that about me. Like I'm trying to learn to put things where they belong kind of vibe right away. So I agree with what you're saying is there's not a lot of pride in the work sometimes.
No, that's very true. And I'm not blaming that on any one specific group of people. I think there are many different levels and many different areas it comes from. And part of that is, do people appreciate it if you finish your work? To me, it doesn't matter. I can give a rat's ass if they appreciate it or not. I finish my work. You don't appreciate it? I don't care. Who cares? Right?
Yeah. And I always feel bad when we talk about this too, because like,
oh yeah,
my work isn't even real. I'm in a closet. I'm wearing shorts. I don't have shoes on. Like, it's not like I can't, like when I was on a deployment, I could say like what I do is hard. But now I feel I love what I do. So
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of being in the closet, here's Phil Mackey.
I also do not have socks or shoes on right now.
What a shock! And
I'm
dogs breathe, eh?
I'll let you guys. It's up to the imagination what I'm wearing below the hooded sweatshirt. That's theater of mind. Yeah,
that's not a problem. We got no. We're just talking about the work ethic in the world now is not. I think the biggest problem that you do have, and it starts with my generation, is the greatest generation worked their asses off to get things done. And they pretty much were the last ones to do that.
Yeah, I think, well, it's hard so I'm a millennial, all right? I was born in the mid-'80s, and I think it's funny, every new generation gets clowned for being something less than the previous generation. So for a while, it was our generation, millennials, we don't work as hard, we're entitled. But now that we've kind of graduated, now we're like in our 30s and getting older. Now the attention has turned to Gen Z being those things. And I have trouble sort of parsing apart how much of it is true versus how much of it is just a tradition of older generations looking at younger generations and sort of clowning them for things. Well, but I will say this. I agree. I think social media and just the mirror that's being held up to you and all of the sort of false comparisons that can be on your timeline, I think it makes people inherently more insecure. And maybe less like if you're going to put yourself out there and finish a job, it can be judged now by more people on social or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I think if you have a willingness to sort of rise above that insecurity and bust your ass without really caring what people think about you,
correct,
you have a huge advantage in 2023, regardless of what it is that you do.
Well, I will tell you, at 9 years old, it was a couple of years after the old man was hauled off in the straitjacket. It took me a couple of years to figure it out. But at 9 years old, I realized by looking around, just observing, that's all I did was observe things. And I absolutely was convinced that if I worked hard, I could become very successful because nobody was working real hard. Yep. And that was 60 years ago.
Dang.
So people just don't like working hard. They just don't.
I think that is actually like exactly what Phil's talking about is seeing the difference between what everyone else is doing and what to do. Phil, like I think you hit the nail on the head. I was in nursing school. I started going back during the pandemic, and there was a bunch of 20-year-olds in me. And I don't mean like in their 20s. I mean, I watched a bunch of 20-year-olds turn 21. It was like, where am I? And the big difference between me and them, they had better memories. They had better, they were overall smarter. The big difference was they were so scared to put themselves out there and be vulnerable. Yep. So they never wanted to, whenever we had to do a test out, like if we're doing, let's say, a catheter, they would be like terrified to put themselves out there and look like a fool.
What if I screw up? What are people going to think of me? Oh my gosh. Right.
And exactly. I've never thought about it all that much, but if like you said, if you can rise above that, you have a huge advantage over. And then I would walk in and be like, I don't care. I'll fail in front of all of you guys. I love failing.
No, I'm in the same boat. I don't give a rat's ass what anyone thinks of what I do.
Yeah.
I'm criticized all the time. It's like, I don't give a rat's ass what you think.
Yeah. And most of the time, I mean, obviously if you're putting a catheter in and everybody's watching you in the front of the class and you mess up, people are going to be able to notice. But 99% of the time, if you're walking around in your everyday life, nobody knows when you take a misstep. Nobody's paying attention to you. Everybody's in their own little bubble, paying attention to themselves.
That's so true.
You can make mistakes, and half the time nobody's really going to notice.
And nothing will make people remember something more than failure. Like when I watched a guy put a catheter in a woman's vagina of a mannequin, he'll remember forever.
Wait a minute.
Where
Go back and start that over again. The man's vagina of a fake woman. What?
No, this male nurse, our nursing student, we had to put a catheter in. So that's like where you would pee. You'd put it in your urethra. And he put it in her. It's a mannequin, so there was nobody harmed. He was like, "This is easy," and he put her the mannequin's vagina. And I was like, "We need to talk."
So he thought it was good, and it was way off the mark.
Yeah, like that's not gonna help her at all.
Boy,
like
I just had shivers up and down my spine thinking about that.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt anything. Like it'd be a pretty easy situation, but like get new tubing for sure when you fix it.
Phil, didn't Urethra used to play for the Vikings?
Was he a backup guard? I'm not.
Urethra Johnson, I think was his name.
Oh God! Wow. Did they really have a player named Urethra Johnson?
It was close.
Really?
It's the urethra, but it was like
no way.
I am telling you, look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. Let's Google it right now.
I don't know how to without breaking my computer.
I'm trying to think of something like he was the nose tackle, wink, wink, or something like that. I don't know. There's something.
So it wasn't urethra, but it was pretty close.
Well, they did have a running back named Ontario Smith that brought a fake penis, a Whizzinator to an airport.
Yeah, that's right, the Whizzinator. I remember that.
That guy was great, man. Back in 2005.
Indeed. It's true. What'd you find out, Devin?
Nobody named
in other words, you're hiding.
Nobody named Urethra Johnson.
It was close though.
But there should be a football player name. And it should be like on Sunday Night Football when they all are on camera introducing themselves and what college they went to.
Yep.
It's Joe Burrow from The Ohio State. It's Urethra Johnson from
UJ?
Flush University.
Ooh, UJ, I like that.
From Flushing, New York. Yes.
Oh, get it? Urethra from Flushing. Get it?
AJ gets the credit for that one.
Yeah, good job.
Oh, AJ, that was your deal?
Yeah, execution goes to Phil there.
I don't know if you want to like have that on your tombstone or your resume. Like it's not the
That's my claim to fame.
Yeah. Phil Mackey, you might recognize me from my Urethra Johnson joke on the Tommy Mark show.
Your legacy.
Put that on there. Have you guys ever seen headstones that have really weird things on them?
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre that they put just these odd statements on headstones?
We used to spend, so I lived in Stillwater growing up, and we had this beautiful cemetery near us, near the junior high. And I used to rollerblade. We used to play in there constantly because it was just these beautiful paved things.
I remember.
They will write the weirdest inside jokes, and you just have no idea. It's like when somebody does that on their personal license plate, you go, okay. But like when you do it on your headstone, like you've committed to that.
Yes, I would have to agree with you. But there are some very famous ones. They used to pop up once in a while. There's like the top 20 headstones in the world. And there were some pretty bizarre things that were on headstones, I'll tell you that.
You might as well, because they stick out a lot more. I mean, you see a lot of last name, or first and last name and dates. But like when you see one with like a question mark somewhere, you go, okay.
Oh, that's When where do we all fall on like headstones and burials? Are you like my dad died a year ago, and his sister who's still alive. So my dad lived till 80, and then his sister's like in her mid 70s, and for 50 years they've had 2 plots in Kankakee, Illinois, ready for them.
Oh, okay.
And like right before my dad was about, he had a long bout with cancer, and so like right close to the end, I said, "Oh, I hate to like have to ask it this way, but what do you want to be buried in that plot that you've had for like 50 years next to your parents?" And he's like, just cremate me and spread me over the Mississippi or something. Like I feel like people less and less now are choosing to have their bodies buried in graveyards. Am I wrong on that?
Well, weren't they buried because they literally thought that God was going to raise them up to heaven and they had to keep their body intact?
That's why my grandpa wanted to be. He wanted the corner plot neck where the roads intersected, so that he would be like conveniently placed for God's carriage or whatever.
He's smart. He's the kind of guy who like has the room next to the bathroom. Like your grandpa was smart.
Yeah. I would like inconvenience somebody. I'd be like, you know what? When I die, I want to be cremated, and I want Brittany specifically to take me on a round the world trip and like up a mountainside.
Take pictures with my urn. Yeah.
No, that's like the meanest thing for me, because you'd be in some weird back closet, and every day, at least once a day, I'd be like, oh, I have to take care of that Tevin thing. And like, I got a lot on my plate right now. Like,
Tevin, this isn't really a good time for me.
Yeah. No, I want Brittany to run like a post-life Instagram account where she's just taking selfies with my urn.
Oh, that's the meanest. Oh, adding social media account to it.
Just saw the new Marvels movie. Thought it was pretty good. Just a picture of an urn. And
Date night with Tevin as I sit next to the popcorn bucket in the chair next to her.
Justin's like, do we have to sleep with Tevin in the bed? I'm like, it was in his will.
Yeah. He's got 15 different things we need to check off, honey.
Yep.
He said, I have to tuck him under my arm like a football every night.
Yeah.
What was the famous TV show where two women were in a boat on a lake and they had an urn with them and the woman dropped it, and of course it was windy on the boat, so it all blew back right in her face?
Oh no.
That happened on The Real Housewives with Sonia Morgan when she had a cremated dog and they were putting it in the Hudson, and she threw it out there and it all whipped back in everyone's face, and it was disgusting.
This was actually a human being in this TV show. Yeah.
You said that happened on Real Housewives of Brittany? Like that was a real thing, not scripted?
Correct. Real Housewives of New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was rough.
What's it? Eva Longoria. I think it was Eva Longoria. What show was that?
That was
that is
Desperate Housewives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever seen
There's Real Housewives, Desperate Housewives.
Yes.
Due Date with Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis?
Mm-hmm.
His like he's doing the whole. He's got his dad in like a Folgers can because he couldn't afford the urn.
Well, sure.
But then halfway through the movie, like they visit Jamie Foxx's character and they're making coffee and they're like, this is like, what's going on? They made coffee out of the guy's dad's ashes.
Oh no. Can't do it.
Like it's both incredibly sad and odd, and it's just like funny too because it's great chemistry. But yeah.
So they've never seen coffee grounds?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a movie. But there was a TV show Psych that they had a scene similar to that where they were like, oh, we got to go spread this guy's ashes, and then they ended up getting into this kind of police chase, and the car crashes, and out the window goes the dust from the urn and just covers people from head to toe. They're like, what is that? And they're like, it's a cake mix. We're gonna go bake a cake. Yeah, so that would be the most horrific thing to happen.
I also heard, Tom, that most of the time when people get cremated, it's like you're lucky if it's 50% them.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's a lot of people, because it's not like they clean out the
right.
I don't know the respectful name of saying an oven for humans, but like they don't clean it out every time. So they've had this big proof that a lot of times it's a bunch of people in there. So celebrate their lives.
Celebrate them all.
It's like the box, because they don't just put the body in there. You're in a wooden box inside the oven that then burns. So it's like the box ashes as well.
So it's the box, it's the person, and then it's some strangers potentially, like a finger of a stranger or something.
We're all family now.
They say it takes a community to raise a child. It also takes a community to burn a body. Yes.
Wow. Hey, it's a heck of a talk here this morning.
Well, we'll close with this one, because every time I go up to Long Prairie, Minnesota, and go see my grandmother's tombstone, about every other time while I'm standing there, if there are other people around, it's my grandmother who died at, I think, 88 years old, something like that. And they all go, God, why did her sons all die so young? Because, you got August the 1st, who was 29, August the 2nd, Augie, right? He died when he was 39. And then you had Emil, who died later than that. He was probably in his 40s. But it's like, because they didn't die. They were all three murdered.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Like, Tom, that's a wild thing to fill out on when you go to the doctor, when they're like, do you have any family cancer, whatever, and then there's other, and you just write murder.
They were all murdered, so, that's good.
I have murder in my family.
Oh,
but it's kind of funny when they go, oh, we feel so bad. They all died so young. Yeah, because you didn't know them. That's why you feel so bad. Oh, actually, August the 2nd was a great guy.
I do love that name.
Yeah, he was August Dean, or Dane is the way he pronounced it. In any case, I suppose we only got about 2 minutes left, so might want to mention a sport or something.
No, I gotta run right now because we got to get to Patrick Royce. And you know what? There's not much to mention off that Gopher basketball game where they blew a 20-point lead with 11 minutes to go.
Why do you leave on that note, Phil?
So
you just
I'm gonna leave.
Tom.
I'm just gonna drop that one in there, and I'll catch you guys on Monday.
Torch's Uncle Tommy. That's why. Thank you.
See you guys.
Phil Mackey, ladies and gentlemen, score North. We should take a break here. Be right back in a couple of minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, if you want to reignite your intimacy once and for all, listen. Just give Twin Cities Premier Health a call for a discreet and confidential in-office evaluation by their highly trained staff of medical professionals. Acoustic wave therapy sessions are 25 to 30-minute treatments with no pain, no downtime afterward. And right now, Twin Cities Premier Health is offering a free treatment and free consultation when you book today. Receive this $800 offer when you use code word TOM at TwinCitiesPremierHealth.com. You may know that age-related erectile dysfunction is most commonly caused by a buildup of plaque in the arteries that supply blood to the erectile tissue. Acoustic wave therapy can rescue your relationship and has been clinically proven to break up plaque and improve blood flow to the penis. Definitely take advantage of this limited time special offer. You're going to love it. I'm telling you, it's not a big deal at all. 25, 30 minutes, you're out of there. Receive a free treatment and a free consultation when you book today. This is a savings of $800 when you use code word TOM at TwinCitiesPremierHealth.com. I wouldn't recommend a service like this unless I knew that they could help you.
Recently, Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC was contacted by a company that does on-site sales. Jim was confused.
Wait, they don't know anything about us, our staff, our reputation, most importantly, our customers.
Hey, pal, no problem. We do them all over the country. Get the manager off the roof sale, inflatable gorilla sale, and our favorite, the 13-hour sale with a giant clock that goes to 13. Urgency, baby. We bring our crew because, well, your people are, let's just say, a little laid back.
And the pricing?
Nothing special, sport.
But Jim thought, we price competitively every day. Our prices are special. We definitely don't need these guys. But sale does convey some urgency, so we made a bold decision for his fine dealerships.
Announcing the Valley Buick GMC 365-day sale. And we can even extend it a couple years or so.
I got the air dancer guy, scratch-offs, plastic keys, bubble machine.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Hurry.
The new Tom Barnard Show is proud to have partners like Bradshaw and Bryant, MyPillow, and North American Banking Company founder, chairman, and president, Mike Bilski.
I've advertised on Tom's show for years, and the reason is simple. My business is recognized because of the ads, and that recognition has created growth. What business doesn't want to grow? I highly recommend the Tom Barnard Morning Show for your advertising.
Grow results for your business by partnering with the Tom Barnard Show. Visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner.
What do you think of that action? I said keyword partner. Did you hear me? Actually, I didn't say that. I asked a question and nobody answered me. Nice attention span you guys got.
I'm doing stuff over here.
Sorry, I was muted. I was having
over here, Tom.
I had a sneeze attack.
K&L Surplus and Ammo is your one-stop shop for all firearms-related products and is the preferred choice among trap enthusiasts and waterfowl hunters for over 25 years. K&L is an authorized SKB shotgun dealer with a huge selection of youth models and has a huge selection of trap loads. Fall hunting is here. Head to K&L Surplus and stock up on waterfowl loads. K&L now has a lot of the calibers that have been kind of hard to find in stock lately. K&L Surplus and Ammo is veteran-owned and offers first responder and veteran discounts. Check this out. Mention this show and receive a 10% off on anything in the store, and that is anything in the store. K&L is also committed to safety and a licensed FFL retailer. Great place, too. It's just fun to walk around the store because they got everything. Find out for yourself why K&L Surplus and Ammo has been the choice of gun owners for over 25 years. Go to www.klgunstore.com. Ladies and gentlemen, news brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh for your free 48-minute financial evaluation. Chris Eggert with us now, who missed about 3 cues this morning while I was watching him. Nice job. Way to pay attention.
It's not what happened, Tom, but I refuse to throw other people under the bus. So I'm not gonna say. So I will, because I'm a team player, I will make myself look foolish before I make my coworkers look foolish.
Oh, is that what it was?
I loved it because at one point he just stops what he's doing and he goes, "I'm sorry, I can't read today." Apparently,
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah,
Yep, we saw it. Hannah dropped the ball on something this morning. I can't remember what it was though. Right, that was very early in the show. I know.
I don't know about that.
She did. She dropped the ball. Is she standing behind you? Hannah, get off your ass and get to work.
Nope, she's not in here.
Well, never mind then. So what's happening, Pally?
Nothing. What's up with you guys?
Just kind of hanging out, waiting to get through the day. You know what I mean?
Brittany, how you got that Friday feeling over there?
Yeah, I'm having that Friday love over here in the closet in Eden Prairie. I was listening to Chris Eggert sing during the break.
They're good.
There was a yee-hee that sounded like Michael Jackson out of nowhere that had me.
There's that part of Take It to the Limit where they're like,
am I the only one that can hear that?
Apparently.
Well, I had my headphones off because I had a bunch of stuff to do, so I couldn't hear it.
That's weird to me because I didn't have your guys' fader up, so there's no way you could have heard that. I feel like
I literally heard the most Michael Jackson sound I've ever heard in my life, and it had me giggling because I thought it was on air, but it was like,
that was me.
It's good.
Weird. Okay.
That's interesting. What the hell? Whatever works.
Tom, I'm not used to seeing you without a hat on.
I know. I just said once in a while to not wear a hat, but you know, and I tried some new glasses, but the new glasses don't look as good as the old ones. They're just gold wire rims, and I look like, you know, I don't know. They don't look as whatever.
Oh,
I don't care.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's feeling better. I'm having some glasses issues these days too.
See, those are good though. I like those glasses on you.
Well, here's the thing. I need them, but I don't need them. Like if I can look at you guys like this is great.
Yep.
But I think the problem is with my reading lately is I can't see the teleprompter very well.
Same story. That's the only time when I'm going to read something from my screen, I put my glasses on. Otherwise, I don't need them. That's true.
Tevin, this is what's going to happen when you get old, my man.
Yep.
No, I don't think so. I think I'll be fine. I don't get old. That is what I've been told. Black don't crack.
What, are you going to get killed?
Yeah. We usually die before we get up to
That's
the elder states.
Real nice.
No, I've already got there are moments where I'm like, things are a little bit more blurry than they should be at this point in my life. Like, I squint a little too much.
I understand. So top stories today. I'm looking at the Star Tribune right now, and I don't really see. Give to the Max Day drew 34 million. I saw that on your show, which is really nice to hear.
Yep, that's that happened yesterday, and not a record setter, but I think it was a second most money they've ever raised before. I have a couple of what was our top story today? The Minneapolis, the mayor is calling a special meeting of the city council to try to get them to pass some kind of law that would let the police department give bonuses for police officers to try to hire more officers because there's such a problem with hiring and retaining officers for Minneapolis right now. Again, like kind of one of those deals where you're maybe not getting to the root of why the police officers are quitting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, Chris. Do they not know why cops keep quitting? Because everybody hates them.
I suppose that's part of it, right? You want to try to financially incentivize, but I mean, at what point of your financial incentives do you just go, well, you know what? That's not really worth it to me. I'd rather go across the river, or I'd rather go out to one of the suburbs, or I'd rather, do my job there.
I'm telling you, did people not realize that the fewer cops you get, life hasn't gotten too good? How many more people are being shot to death since this whole anti-police attitude? Look, not all cops are great people, but not any. I mean, disc jockeys are all great people, but other than that,
that statistic has never been proven wrong. They are the best people.
There's no question about it. But yeah, I don't know, if I were a cop, I would not like the constant bitching about it. I'm doing the best I can. And when I'm on duty, I am in danger the whole time I'm on duty. Right?
And that's not to say, as you brought up, that there's not some issues going on in the department.
Yeah, absolutely.
There obviously are. So I don't know. I'll tell you what, we're not going to figure it out right now, but I will tell you that the city council is meeting about it today. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's this headline in the Star Tribune with expiring leases and scarce financing. Angst grows for Twin Cities office building owners too. There's another problem. Nobody's going downtown anymore.
So that's funny that the Strib had that story today, because we talked to the downtown council yesterday. They're trying to get people all pumped up to go downtown because it's holiday time, and they were saying 64% of the companies down there have people working again downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some of those buildings that have more people working there again. But the Strib's article basically today is, when the bills come due on all these buildings, like none of these companies are going to have the money in the bank to continue.
Yep.
And so the implication is that the commercial real estate market and everything down there is not in a great place.
Yeah, that's what I understand. It's way, way out of whack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every other storefront window that you walk by has a for lease sign in the window. So, and you really can't both. I feel like the downtown being empty and the lack of police kind of go hand in hand, because if you can somehow make police officers feel less stressed and better about doing their job and are more adequately trained, then the community is going to have more faith and feel safer. And then now they're more willing to go out to, the areas that are, dangerous, like downtown.
Yeah.
It's so sad that an area downtown. When I was a kid, it was the safest place in the entire state.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. I've always kind of laughed and when people go, "Oh, it's so dangerous." Like, you don't go out downtown and are in danger of being abducted and murdered the second you step outside.
You get robbed.
You're gonna be okay.
A lot of people got robbed.
I mean, people get robbed everywhere.
Oh, okay.
we hear stories about people in Minnetonka getting carjacked and robbed.
Yeah. I mean, listen, somebody tried to take my daughter's car right out of our driveway, so I can attest to that. So.
Right.
No, wait a second. You guys are trying to make the argument that it's not more dangerous downtown than it is anywhere else.
I mean, I'm sure because there's a higher concentration of people down there, there might be a higher number, but I don't know. I guess I'm kind of feel the same way that Tevin does. I think there are certain parts of downtown where you kind of know better than to go around there. I think there are certain,
I suppose.
And I think there are certain times where you might be more apt to run into some problems.
Right. If you're out at bar close at 2:30 in the morning with a bunch of drunk idiots, then there's probably some stuff that's going to be going on. But if you're trying to go to Lunn's and Byerly's at noon, you're not getting beat up because you're downtown.
I love that Lunn's, by the way. The one on, what is it, 12th and Hennepin?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that Lunn's.
I feel like Lunn's and Byerly's is like a safe haven for crime. Like, if you're on their premises, nothing's going to happen to you.
You'll be broke, but nothing will happen to you.
You'll pay a lot for your groceries, but you'll be safe.
You know, it's funny you guys bring that up. I happen to be at a store that might have just been mentioned. I'm not going to say which one it is, but I bought 2 sandwiches. I bought like maybe 5 things. It was $130.
Oh, it's never not 100.
It's never. It's always $100. You're right.
It's like I go in there and I'm like, we just need bananas, and then I'm like casually grabbing other stuff, and it's always like 102, and I'm like, how did we get here?
And they have their membership whatever programs. Like if you go to Cub Foods, you'll type in your number and you'll get a bunch of discounts. I've shopped faithfully at Lunn's and Byerly's for years. I always put my phone number in.
Yeah, nothing.
I don't think I've ever once seen the price go down ever from being a member.
And that's so
I'm sure
true.
it has benefits, but I am just not aware of what those benefits
Like,
are. But I will still put my number in.
Cub be making some deep cuts. If you pull out that little red thing on your keys, they're like, oh, we actually owe you money. And I'm like, Cub, I love you for that. But you're right. Yeah, not the same.
I love how she went all urban. Cub be making some. Oh, okay.
I was at Cub Foods once, and I was like, the deal wasn't working, and then I realized you have to be a member to get those deals. And the lady that was working was like, "Oh, you're not a member? Well, you can only sign up during the week, but here, just put my code in so you can get all the discounts." I was like, "Cub for the win!"
Cub is great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Worst lighting ever. Like sometimes when I'm in a bad mood and I'm in Cub, and I'm like, I'm poor and miserable. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm just in a bad mood and there's bad lighting.
Yep.
But like, it's great there. If you have a good mindset and know what you're getting, it's mostly the same stuff. So,
You know what's interesting is I have, depending on what I'm buying, I have 3 different stores. I got Lunn's, I got Cub, and I got Jerry's.
You forgot Trader Joe's.
Trader
Joe's Catherine goes to Trader Joe's.
Don't sleep on Aldi.
Don't sleep on Aldi.
Thank you, Chris.
But again, you have to be in a good mood to go into Aldi. If you go there, it gets a little weird. But then, Tom, don't forget Costco too.
Hannah's here. Hannah's.
Do not sleep on Aldi.
Yes, Hannah.
Hey, Hannah.
And your reusable bags. Do not sleep on Aldi.
Hannah, was that today or yesterday when you made that massive mistake during your report?
He already's giving me shit
It's
about.
every day.
Yeah.
It's every day. I don't know which mistake. There's so many.
Who's better than you?
I said I knew of no mistake that you've ever made. So
Oh, stop. No. All mistakes all the time.
Hannah, that color on you is stunning.
Oh, thank you.
It does
Thank
look
you
nice.
guys so much. Thank you.
It's
Not a
interesting that you
problem.
didn't compliment Chris's outfit today.
Right. Rude.
All of you guys look so great.
I'm in a closet. I'm so sick.
Right.
You're a great liar.
stop.
Other mistake she made today.
You look awesome. What are mistakes I've made?
No. I just said by saying we all look good. That it was either a lie or a mistake. One of
No, it's the truth.
the.
Not
Okay.
a mistake.
As Brittany wipes her nose, yes,
I was like, I have snot on my face.
never looked better.
That's true.
Oh, thanks.
That's true.
Aldi for the win. And Costco.
Yeah, Costco.
And
You just wait.
Jerry's. Yeah.
Did you go buy? You guys buy your diapers there?
Diapers at Costco.
Oh, heck yeah.
Biggest problem I got with Costco, though, every time I go, I bring home a 55-gallon drum of cheese balls.
It's,
Oh.
Or whatever it is.
Or-
Yeah.
Chris and I love the holiday cookies in the
Oh,
red
yeah.
tin. The red
Mhm.
tin. I think they're
Yeah.
out.
They must.
So,
Yeah, I didn't look for those when I was there the other day.
So I can't buy them. They're too dangerous to have around the house.
I understand
I'm gonna get you for
that.
Christmas now.
Yeah. I eat all of it in one sitting. Well, I got a blast, but thanks, guys. Aldi.
Oh, I'm busy. She hollers out Aldi.
She pieces out Aldi. I love it.
So,
Aldi.
But it's true. Trader Joe's has great stuff. Their cookies, by the way, Trader Joe's cookies are really good. Except I'm pissed off at them because they used to have a thing called a Boffo bar. It came in a little white wrapper, just BOFFO, I think it was spelled. They weren't full size candy bars. They were like that big. They were wonderful, but they don't sell them anymore, which pisses me off.
Sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, Tom.
It was a
What is
Boffo
in the
bar.
Boffo bar?
It was just like you got the caramel and the nuts and the whatever that filling is that they have in Snickers.
Yeah,
Nougat?
the nougat, yeah.
Nougat. Yeah, nougat. That's exactly what it is. It's nougat. You're absolutely right. Just kind of go back briefly to downtown. I must tell you that as a boy, like I said, when I was a little kid, 9, 10 years old, I used to walk downtown every day and come back. Nobody ever bothered me. I worked downtown at Donaldson's and Dayton's. I love downtown Minneapolis. And, I go to Murray's whenever I get the chance to go to see Manny's. Whenever I go to Manny's, though, it's always with guys from K-Fan. Those guys
Really?
K-Fan just
Yeah,
love-
they're all about Manny's, aren't they? Like
They are.
that's
They
all I
love
ever hear
Manny's.
Rosen talking about is Manny's.
Yes, that's he. I think he has a cot that he just sleeps in the back at Manny's.
He does love that place, though. God, but I haven't gone to. Actually, the last time I went to dinner with those guys, Rosen was there, Meat Sauce was there, and Scott Studwell came to the dinner. I love
Oh,
Scott
sweet.
Studwell. Love that guy.
I just saw a picture of him on the internet this morning. Somebody was like, post a picture of your favorite Viking or your favorite
Yep.
Viking of all time. And it was Studwell. And he got like blood on his pants. And I'm like, God, that guy was a bad dude.
He was
Loved
great
him.
guy, though. But the one problem with Scott Studwell is if you become a really good friend of his, he gives you hugs every time he sees you, and it hurts like a son of a bitch. He doesn't even know he's doing it, but it hurt. I mean, he's so goddamn strong. He's like, "Good to see you, Tom."
That would be terrifying to know. Like, I get scared when I know that people are going to shake my hand hard. Like, I'll avoid it.
Oh, sure.
I can't imagine being hugged so hard it hurts.
Well, that might be an exaggeration, but
Listen, with a name like Studwell,
Yeah.
he
that's
had to,
true.
he had to have gone down that path, and he's got to be a hard hugger.
Kevin, we should book
Named
Scott.
Studwell.
Scott. See if we can figure out how to get him on.
Oh yeah, well I can come up. Oh, I got his number. I'll just give you his number.
Okay,
that should make it a lot easier, don't you think?
Yeah,
that's my favorite. Is they'll be like Catherine earlier this week was like, Mr. T, what's he up to? We can get him on the show. I was like, yeah, let me just reach right out to Mr. T.
Oh my God, that is
pity the fool.
Yeah, $1 million to guess what guest Catherine was going to ask for. I would never know it would be Mr. T.
Mr. T, yeah.
Pity the fool that doesn't watch Channel 5.
I pity the fool. I got a lot of Mo. That was my favorite one from Mr. T. I got a lot of Mo. I got a lot of Mo. Love that.
I will, as I depart, I will briefly say I happened to catch an A-Team marathon on the other day.
Oh my God!
On one of our sub-tier channels, like 5.1 or 5.2 or 5.3 or 5. I don't know what it is, but the A-Team was not a great show.
No, it was not. You're right.
You ever see the newer movie with like Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper?
No.
Oh, it's not good, but it's not bad. Like it's entertaining. You know, you watch it, like, okay.
Because I'll go with entertaining. Yeah. It was when you saw the back-to-back episodes.
Yeah.
That you were like, you can really see how not great it was.
Yeah.
Like, oh look, Murdoch's doing something crazy again. Ha ha. I mean, it was like the same freaking thing. And I'm like, oh, they're in their van. How are they going to get it out of that predicament?
I understand. How are we going to get out of the predicament of having you on this show? That's what I
turn me off. Just freaking unplug me.
Just unplug.
Please. I mean,
they did.
Oh, there you go.
Do not resuscitate.
All right. Have a great day, sir.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Chris.
Chris Eggert brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh for your free 48-minute financial evaluation. Matter of fact, Josh, as you know, on Fridays is on the family podcast, but he's going to come in, like 15, 20, 25 minutes early just because I wanted to ask him about interest rates. They have dropped again. Does he see that trend continuing? Because, man, the highest interest rates got up to what, almost 10%? And I'm not even talking like for a dangerous loan. That was just for a regular loan.
Right. Oh, yeah. And that's like if you have great credit.
Right.
Like I remember working at the dealership and people with, challenged credit would walk out of there with like an 18%, 20% type of situation.
Ouchie.
That's a lot of money. Well, some credit cards are now, 35% for some people?
Yeah.
Man, how can you even use that card?
That's terrifying.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't even have a credit card.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to get one eventually.
Yeah.
See, let me ask you this. Why?
Because you need
why.
You have a cat.
I've never missed a bill. I've never like missed a payment.
Right.
Isn't that like enough to be like, hey, maybe he's kind of reliable. Maybe he's got his feet under, on the ground and he's able to do it.
Do you have a card with which you can get cash?
Yeah, like I have a debit card.
Yeah, debit card. That's what I use too.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
I have a credit card,
but like a credit score, I couldn't tell. I don't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because you really can't do anything in life without a credit card score or like a credit score. And so I would like how I always started with mine when I first got one was I would use it like I would use my debit card and then just pay it off.
Good move.
Because it's like, but people where you get into trouble is the people that are like, my credit limit's $1,000. Let me just swipe this all the way up to 1,000, and now I'm upside down.
Maybe I'm just dumb and I don't understand it, but like if I have the money right then and there, why do I want to take that extra step? I
agree.
If I have the money, just take it out right now. Why do I have to pretend money?
Because you got to show the payment history. So that way when you try to buy a house, they go, oh, he has years of paying all of his bills on time, and it's all a setup. It's all a scam.
Seems like a flawed system in my mind.
It is.
Well, they use that system to make money.
Exactly.
So there's the flaw right there. They have to make some money off of it. But what are you going to do? Right?
You're so right. I
cry about it.
I think in my 20s, I realized I had no credit because I was in the same predicament, AJ. And then when I went to go buy a house, thank God Justin had good credit because mine was just non-existent, which looks bad, which is so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're paying rent, there is a protocol where it can go towards your credit score. And I don't know it off the top of my head, but that's a good one to do because it shows proof of something.
Yeah, and now you can download apps where you can get where it's a debit card, but it still counts as a credit card. Or what's the it's a Purple Cow Experian, where if you're paying like your electric bill,
John
phone
Cena.
bills, there's a way where that factors into your credit score as well.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. No question about it. But yeah, debit cards are much better than credit cards.
I agree.
I mean, I got a few credit cards just to have them. But whenever I can, I agree with all of you that I would use cash or a debit card first, always.
Mm.
You know, no matter what I use, Bilski gets it all anyway. So what's the difference? Right.
Well, Bilski or Catherine, either way.
Or Andy or Alex.
Yep. Or me.
Or you.
That's my favorite. When Bill I think it was Andy one day was saying he was going to buy something for the studio, and you were like, "Oh, just use my credit card," and he was like, "I already did."
Yeah, there you go. Well,
Don't
great.
be naive. Of course, it's already charged.
Think I was going to wait to get reimbursed? No.
I'm not waiting for you, pal. No doubt about it. All right, we do have to take a break, and then what's some lame-o named Bob Sansevier? What's that?
Some guy that I got to turn his mic down. I can hear him already. So.
Well, that's true, actually. We'll take a break. Bob Sansevier will join us right after this. I'm so happy to welcome back our longtime friend, Sabre Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, to the show. I've known Steve, the owner, for many years. I completely trust Sabre to keep my house comfortable. Why? Sabre does everything the right way, and they always put the customer first. I love the team at Sabre because their service experts are experienced NATE certified technicians. They're not salespeople. Their pricing is completely upfront, and they fix only what needs to be fixed and nothing more, which is great news for you. Sabre is dedicated to giving customers what they need when they need it and at the fair price. Keeping your family safe and comfortable without breaking the bank. Give Sabre Heating and Air Conditioning a try. I know they'll take care of you, just like they've taken care of me and my family the whole time here. Whether you need a new Bryant furnace or air conditioner replaced or just simply need a service call to get you going again, go to saberheating.com. That's SABRE heating.com. Sabre and Bryant, whatever it takes. Tom here, and I just read a success story from MN fat loss client Elizabeth, who just completed the program. Elizabeth writes, I'm a 54-year-old woman who has struggled with losing weight. I had almost constant heartburn, trouble sleeping, brain fog. I tried counting calories, eating bars and shakes, and several other programs in which I would lose 5 to 10 pounds after months of struggling. After 60 days of the MN Fat Loss program, I was down 25 pounds. MN Fat Loss had really empowered me to believe that I can control my eating and my weight without having to sacrifice foods that I like. If you're thinking about finally committing to improving your health, this is the time to start. You won't regret your investment in yourself. It's so easy to see if MN Fat Loss is a good fit for you. They offer a free phone consultation to learn about the program. They also have virtual options to help you if you live far away, which I think is a brilliant idea. To schedule that free phone consultation, go to mnfatloss.com. The only thing you have to lose is that unwanted weight. That's www.mnfatloss.com. I cannot wait to hear about your success story, and please let them know that Tom sent you. You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, your legal issues, banking, and more. Same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you, Josh Arnold. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That is 952-925-5608. You'll be glad you did. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security and investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. I'm Tom Barnard, and I am a paid endorser. All right, we got to start off strong with Bob. Gophers go scoreless from the field the final 6 minutes and lose to Missouri. How do you go scoreless for 6 straight minutes, Bob? How?
It happens.
God. What is with our team? I mean, the Vikings have picked up the pace. There's no question about that. I like that quarterback. But I don't know.
Now, here's the Gophers. They got a football game this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't they have the OSU?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think they're 27-point dogs.
Okay. You know what this reminds me of? This goes back to the 80s. Sid Hartman had a bet with Stosh Newman, who was the assistant trainer for the Vikings. Stosh Newman gave Sid 70 points in the Gophers against Nebraska. Sid lost the bet.
Yes.
This game will be. I would certainly take Ohio State and lay the 27.
The only potential for the Gophers keeping it within 27 points is the fact that next week Ohio State plays Michigan. So maybe they're already looking forward to this big rivalry with one of the top teams in the country. So maybe they overlook us and they allow us to not get blown out by 30.
Yank the starters after the first drive. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, possibly true. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Sansevier Sports brought to you by Bialke Law Firm. Hurt at work, Dave Bialke goes to work for you. Taking care of your workers' comp injury claims and denials. Go to BIALKElaw.com. Tell them Bob and Tom sent you. So, Sanny, we got the big football game. Well, like I said, that 20. I'd have to agree that they're going to lose by more than 27, don't you think?
Oh, I mean, yes,
easily.
Even their second and third team will beat them by 30.
Yeah.
This is a bad team, and if only they got that NIL money, they'd be undefeated right now.
Yeah, you think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Got an excuse, PJ? Sure, I do. I need NIL money.
Oh no, they're not excuses. They're reasons. That's his new big thing to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but at least again, if he were, and he's not, but if he were fired before December, it's only a $10 million buyout, not like Jimbo Fisher. Do you know what the buy? No wonder they're fighting this. Do you know why Mel Tucker, the Michigan State? You know what his buyout was? $80 million.
Whoa!
What did he do to get an $80 million buyout? That's unbelievable.
Oh God!
So that's why I don't think they trumped up charges, but they don't want to be paying that.
Bob, don't you think that's because, once again, it's the people who pay the tuition and the taxes to keep the university going? It's coming out of our pockets. That's why they just hand it over. They don't care.
Yeah. Oh, well, at some of these schools, there is a really strong booster funding it, but not here.
No.
I mean, the boosters, they once had really good boosters, but then they had to get involved and say, no more of this.
Yeah.
Your Harvey McKay was the guy that was, he got a lot of money for those programs when Lou Holtz was here.
Yeah, he did.
Then they slapped his wrist and he said, okay, fine, I'm done.
I haven't seen Harvey in years. I wonder, how's Harvey doing?
I don't know. You still got that glove?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
The Ali glove, right?
The Ali.
Did he give
glove.
you this giant Muhammad Ali glove that Ali signed?
He absolutely did. A boxing glove that said Muhammad Ali autographed it for me because Harvey asked him to.
Yeah.
It was very nice. Yeah, I still got that.
It's like the size of a Toyota Corolla.
That's exactly. It is that big. There's no question about
it's enormous. So
it is indeed.
All right. Now I just got off the phone with Kevin O'Connell, who told me there's my Carissa Thompson. I was playing her for a minute. Are you familiar with this story, Tom?
What is that? That sounds familiar. What is that?
Okay. She went on a podcast and said when she was a sideline reporter, she would make up what things. She never talked to the coaches, so she made up what they would say. And she did it in such a way that they would never argue with her. Like, she would say, well, the coach told me they have to do better on third down. Mm-hmm. She said things that were safe. We have to give it our all in the second half. So nobody ever called her on it. But, I mean, all the women, the other sideline reporters are just, they're apoplectic. Because it makes them all look bad.
Okay, here's the thing. When I did traffic, sometimes my computer wouldn't start up. So I would say things that I knew, like Dunwoody, it'll always be backed up on the Dunwoody exit.
Right. Yep.
And so did I know that? Like, did I look and see that? No. But, like, is it still true? Yes. So I get where she's coming from.
But I have a question for you. Did you ever say, unfortunately, 17 people killed in a... Did you ever do that?
No, I never went on a limb like that, but I should have, because I wonder how many people were listening to me anyways.
I'm seeing news of a bus rollover with no survivors.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Right at that Dunwoody entrance where everything's backed up.
It was a dark day on Dunwoody.
Did you do that at the queue? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, all the time, because the computers, they were so slow. So if they wouldn't refresh, I would there's spots you just know. 94 is slowing down quite a bit coming out of Woodbury, so start your commute early.
they wouldn't refresh, why not just give the report from earlier instead of making it up?
I pretty much was, but like if I just
Oh.
got there and things like, I mean, I pretty much was, but from my memory.
I will say this: whatever happens to Teresa Thompson needs to happen to Brittany.
Thank you.
There's repercussions for her because they did the same thing, and she's defending her.
I can't wait for them to take away my $30 they gave me for those years.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I get why the other female reporters are annoyed because like it makes us look bad, but I think more so it just shows you how pointless the halftime interviews are. Like no coach has ever revealed.
No, they're not going to say anything.
No, they're like, we're going to go and make some adjustments and come back and try to win the game in the second half. Like we don't need those interviews.
Did you know, by the way, none of you did. Tom may remember this, but the others wouldn't know it. I was one of the first ever Fox sideline reporters. They would have people in the cities that worked there, and then it was after the game. I'd go on the field and interview. I never had to interview Denny Green, though, because he and I were not the closest of friends. It was always a player. And I kept thinking every week, I can't believe Denny's not complaining about me doing it, because he didn't know. When he found out, I think that's when they pulled the plug.
He's a big fan.
This was for home games. Yeah, big fan of both of ours.
Well, he loved me.
Yeah, when
bet.
And I carried the water for that guy.
That guy. You carry the water for that guy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. He's dead. Isn't he?
Oh yeah, he died
He
quite a
passed
while.
away a few years
Did he
ago.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
he
it was
did.
7 years ago. What, he was
He,
buddy? He looked all sad.
I love Denny Green.
Yeah, see, here
whatever.
we go.
I don't care whatever beef you guys had with him.
You were a kid. How could you love? I mean, how old were you when he was the coach?
I mean, I was probably
6?
middle school, high school. Yeah, but I loved him. He had some of the greatest quotes. They are who we thought they were when he lost. He lost to the Bears. Or had this VHS where he was quoted. He was like, "Big time players make big time performances," and I loved that quote.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Denny Green.
Tevin, here's my favorite quote, and Tom will remember this one. Any more questions about Tampa Bay?
Yep. I love
Because
that.
I was pressing him after the Tampa Bay game, because this is when his book came out, No Time for Crybabies, or No Room for Crybabies.
Yep.
And he laid out his plan to overthrow the ownership group. So I'm asking him questions, and he wouldn't. We're not talking about the book right now. We're talking about the game. We're talking about Tampa Bay. Any more questions about Tampa Bay? 30 seconds. Any more questions about Tampa Bay? He said it the second time. I said, can we talk about the book now? And that's where on the side, he and I went at it, and where he invoked Tom without invoking his name.
Yep. Big fan of Uncle Tom. Well, to tell you the truth, you could be the greatest coach of all time. I'm still going to take shots at you. That's just how it is.
You know, if you had just given props to the Sunshine Band, I think he would have been.
His
He was the drummer, the drummer in the Sunshine Band.
I'm trying to think of a coach that I did like. You got one, Bob?
Well, I'll tell you what. I know that his scandal brought down the program, but I always liked Clem Haskin.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, you're
know,
right. I did like Clem. He's a good guy.
He played a lot of good games at Willem Arena. Remember, he never said S's.
Including his own name.
Yes, Clem Haskin.
Clem Haskin. He didn't put the S on his own name. I love that. But look, I didn't know him really well, but I did like him. He's kind of like a man's man, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, he was a hell of a coach, and if they hadn't turned in those essays on the menstrual cycle, I think maybe they could have stayed under the radar.
That's true.
How lazy can you be? Yet you have to pick something, and you're picking something, you know, a term paper on the women's menstrual cycle, and you're a 21-year-old guy. You don't think that'll raise a flag or two?
And by the way, who cares if they did it or not? You think anybody does that kind of work at any level and at any college?
No.
No.
Stuff like that's happening everywhere. This Michigan thing. I'm sure the Big Ten is glad that it's gone away, because Harbaugh accepted the 3-game suspension, which tells you he does think his team will beat him without him on the sideline. So that they were they were starting to bring things up about other teams, including Ohio State, doing the same thing. This is a stupid rule. Isn't the idea to figure out what the other team is doing? And if you steal signals, this is different than baseball, where you're putting a camera on the catcher. Here, you're watching on the field and seeing everything everyone else sees. And you're just you're deciphering what they're doing.
Yeah, but didn't they fly, Michigan, if they were playing, the Gophers this week, they were sending people out to
There was
stadiums.
one guy who went, and from the reports I saw, they were unable to find where he got reimbursed by Michigan. So he did it on his own dime, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's one thing if you're standing on the sideline or it's something you can catch on film, but it's very similar to, Deflategate when the Patriots were filming specifically the guy.
But it's in games. They didn't go to practices and do it. And also, every team sends advanced scouts to games.
Mhm.
That's nothing new that this guy was stealing this. You know what? Have better signals. And I'm not a Harbaugh guy.
Sandy, I came up with two.
What's that?
I came up with two that I like.
What?
Coaches.
Oh, who?
Tom Kelly. I've always liked TK.
TK,
He's
yeah.
a great guy. And Glenn Mason.
Oh, you've been a Mason guy.
Yeah, and Clem Haskins, I liked him. So I got the trifecta now. I got basketball, football, and what?
You had to love Jerry Burns, if only for Passo's,
Yes.
Yes,
I agree. Jerry Burns is a good guy too. So I got four now. I didn't even know. I got four coaches I liked.
And I know he's not your guy, but you and Tice would have been best buddies if you'd actually spent any time with the guy.
He hated my guts.
No, he didn't. He liked you. He liked the show.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, then I was lied to by his buddies because his buddies said, "Oh God, Tom, he didn't like you at all." Oh,
As
you
a
know,
matter of-
one
I think
was Joe Schmidt. Joe Schmidt told me he didn't like me.
Well, I think he told the owner of Bunnies, I want to have this sign say, parking for the head coach and Tom Barnard.
Yes, that's what it was. Exactly.
They ran out of paint, though, to put it on there.
I didn't quite have time to get it up there.
Yeah. No, there have been some good coaches, good guys that are coaches in the Twins.
so.
Leslie Frazier was a great guy.
Oh, really? I never knew.
Very
him.
classy. Yeah, he was terrific. And he's
Where's
another scapegoat in Buffalo. He was the D coordinator. He got fired.
Sure.
He got blamed for a lot of things. But
Bob,
no, he's a good guy. What's that?
How's Mike Zimmer as like a person? Because I know like as a football guy, like he's a football guy,
Mhm.
But as like a person outside of the facilities, did you ever?
Yeah, I did. You know what? I got to know him, and he had a very dry sense of humor, but he had a sense of humor. I actually enjoyed. I wasn't as close to him as I was to Tice. I mean, Tice you could just BS with whenever you wanted, but Zimmer, I'd spend time with him in his office, and he had a sense of humor. And he's not a bad guy at all, but when he came in, he was told not to be buddy and chummy with the players because that's what Tice was. And they wanted a guy that would come in as a hard ass. And that was the persona that he wound up projecting. But if you talk to guys, especially earlier on, that played for him in Cincinnati when he was the defensive coordinator, and even here, I think these guys really liked him and played for him.
Yeah, well, that was why he stuck around so long, is because everybody did like him and he was good at what he did, and it was very hard, I think, for the franchise to move on.
Yeah, I did like the guy. Childress, I didn't mind Childress either. He had a sense of humor, but he was socially awkward or socially inept.
Okay,
and that didn't help.
Were you the one that told me about the picking up his car at the front of a hotel? Did you tell me that story?
Tell me more, because it might be with the wrong car.
Brad Childress walks out, and he's going to get in his car, and he turns to the guy and he goes, "Oh God, I was going to give you a tip, but the smallest bill I got's a 20." And the car parker goes, "Anybody have change for a 20?" He starts yelling it all.
For Coach Childress.
This guy's making millions and he doesn't want to tip $20, you cheap prick. God. But it was great. I guess the guy, "Anybody got change for a 20?" I love that story.
Yeah. Every coach has a good story, that's associated with him.
Yeah,
one of my great. I like Jerry Burns, and I got along with him. And when they had the owners meeting in in Hawaii one year, he invited me to go. He had a friend that came in every year, and I got to know the friend because he'd come in. He's Hawaiian, and he was on Maui. That's where he lived. But Burnsy invited me to go with him, but Mike Linn was there when he did, and Mike Linn took the keys from Burnsy, gave them to me, and said, under no circumstances does he get to drive. Because Burnsy would like to have a beverage or two.
Cocktail. Now, Bob, I have to ask you,
Yeah.
No, you only got a couple minutes, but you can you can burn up the whole 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever you got. I never met Burnsy's wife, but I met his daughters, and they didn't look a whole lot like Burnsy.
Burnsy's wife, she was a wonderful woman, and I mean, you could see that they got a lot of attributes from Mom.
Beautiful women.
From Marlis, yeah.
His daughters were gorgeous.
Yeah, but you know what? Burnsy, and he started looking. He didn't look any different when I saw him several years ago. He was a little grayer, but he was always craggy looking. I think he came out that way.
Probably. There are people that way. No question about it.
But the guy, I mean, he had a sense of humor.
Yep.
I could see why, Marlis or any woman would fall for the guy.
Oh, he was great. He dropped the F-bomb at press conferences.
And the best thing about that, the most famous one was after they played the Rams, and this is a Schnelker game, and the Effers put the picture of the Effers, boom. Effers. And then I'm the one asking, you won this game, didn't you? Yeah, I think we did. But he was my favorite coach to cover because there was always a story that you could get out of Jerry Burns. And he was just great. And the players loved him too. I mean, I think they took on those teams in the 80s took on his personality, which at times was very disheveled the way they played. But they could. That I still say that 87 team was the strike year, and their record doesn't reflect how good the team was because the start when they got rid of the 3 losses, that's the one that lost to Washington in the championship game. That was a hell of a team, best defense that they've had since I've covered them.
I could understand that. So, Bob, they got a winner on Sunday.
I'm not buying into this whole Denver Bronco. Hey, look at them. They've, after giving up 71 points, they've won games and they're shutting teams down. If Joshua Dobbs is healthy, I think they'll be fine. This guy, he is one of the great stories in the NFL this year, if not the greatest story.
Yeah.
Coming from the Cardinals and winning these 2. Now, it could all fall apart Sunday night. I don't think it will. And we're all curious. Justin Jefferson said yesterday, it's his call of when he plays. Then you got O'Connell saying he's, basically champing at the bit. He wants to get in. He's ready to go. So they have to activate him by November 29th. So they don't have to. They can get through this game and not have to worry about it. But I mean, if he wants to play and is ready to play and the hamstring is good, then let him. Because I think we all want to see what this offense can do with him on the field with Jordan Addison, now that we know how good Addison is.
Sounds good to me, Sandy. Another brilliant report, I thought.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm warning you now, by the way. I'm heading to St. Louis to watch my son play.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet 16 of rugby. So I give a report Monday, that's mean they did really well. If I don't mention it, it didn't go so well.
Okay. We'll handle it.
See you, kids.
Yeah. Bob Sansevier Sports brought to you by Bielke Law Firm. Hurt at work, Dave Bielke goes to work for you, taking care of your workers' comp injury claims and denials. Go to BIALKElaw.com. Tell them Bob and Tom sent you. We'll take a break. One of my favorites, Rex Linn, is going to join us right after this. I love that guy. Hell of an actor. You all have helped support MyPillow and their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows this and continues to give back to listeners with deals on his most popular products. You've heard me recently speak about the My Slippers, the Giza Sheets, MyPillow 2.0, and more. Great news, the MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price is $79.98, and for limited time, you can get this 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code TOM. That's a 50% savings. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TOM to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel sets. That is just $39.99 for a set. This deal will not last long. Enter promo code TOM for this special and, of course, many more.
In a world that's racing a mile a minute, a split-second distraction can change everything. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. Every day we see too many people, heads buried in their phones, unaware of the dangers they're in. Texting and driving isn't just reckless, it's playing Russian roulette with your life and the lives of others. In just 4 seconds of distraction, you've driven the length of a football field. Is there any text message that's worth your life, that's worth the lives of others? I've been fighting for the rights of the injured for over 30 years, but I'd rather you never meet me in a courtroom. So hear me now, stop texting and driving. Pay attention. Value your lives and the lives around you. And if you won't, know this. At Bradshaw and Bryant, we're relentless. We won't back down. We bring justice to those that need it.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
With Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
Hello, I'm Brad Huckle, President and Chief Lending Officer at North American Banking Company.
And I'm Michael Bilski, CEO at North American Banking Company.
As a locally owned and operated community bank, we work with many multi-generational businesses.
Take Personal Care Dentistry of Roseville, for example. Dr. Walter Hunt, also known as Painless to me, has been a longtime customer of the bank since we opened the bank in 1998.
When his son Kyle was ready to join the practice, they wanted to expand quickly.
With their additional space and equipment, they now are able to see more patients each day while providing the same level of care and service.
Okay, guys, I'll take it from here. If you run a family business or any kind of business for that matter, you should be banking with Brad and Mike over at North American Banking Company. Every time I deal with them or their team, I know I'm working with experienced professional bankers. So why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The Tom Barnard Show is proud to have partners like North American Banking Company, Bradshaw and Bryant, and attorney and advertiser Dave Bielke.
I've been advertising on Tom Barnard shows for years. I like Tom, not just because he's a good guy, but because the ads I run on his show bring me new clients that are hurt at work and need legal help. Tommy B works for me.
If you'd like to find out more about growing your business with the Tom Barnard Show, go to tombarnardshow.com, keyword partner.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, a couple minutes away from an interview with Rex Linn. Hell of an actor. No question. You guys like him?
Yeah, I mean, he was CSI Miami was a staple on my television growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also in Rush Hour.
Oh, was
with
he?
Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. He was one of the main supporting characters in there.
There you go. What is this now? Apple is finally changing its text to stop screwing over Android users. What's that all about?
Oh.
Oh, you know about this, Brittany?
Well, I just know the screwing over Android thing. You can tell if you're in a group chat with people, you can tell who has an Android and who doesn't, because if they like something, it'll like write it out instead of showing a heart on your text. And then on top of it,
really,
they picked a color that is less appealing than if I text you, Tom, you'll see blue print. It'll be like a blue back and forth. They picked a color that was less appealing to the eye. It's kind of this like weird green. If it's an Android user. So I wonder if they got rid of all that.
Yeah, essentially every message that's not an iMessage. So if you're somebody that doesn't or isn't connected to Wi-Fi and can't send an iMessage or something like that, then it'll turn green as well.
That's why the difference. Just what causes that?
Just because. Well, it's probably a power thing. And they used to do the thing with emojis where they would only show up as like boxes, or they would show up as very cartoonishly drawn. And so, it's like they went out of their way to
it really
make everything look terrible.
So they did it to them on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then what happens is all the iPhone people will bully the Android person until they just break down and get an iPhone.
Why do you think it is that everybody's a tough guy when they're not in your face? Because that's basically what they're doing. Is they're pestering people remotely.
Yeah, I don't think it's them being a tough guy. I think it's just they think it's funny to poke a little fun at somebody that's not using their products.
But why would you do? Wouldn't you entice them to use your product instead of making fun of them?
But if they know that if somebody with an Android sends me a emoji and it looks a little bit different, then I'm going to go, hey, why does yours look like that? And then you have to answer that question a million times of, I have an Android.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that stuff, so that'll work. I stay at home a lot and stare out the window. That's what I would do.
Sounds appealing.
Very, very appealing. Believe me, when you get further on in life, you're going to love it. It's like, there's nobody near me. It's wonderful. Rex Linn now joins us, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm just at home staring out the window.
I don't blame you. I'd be there. Hey, listen, if I were you, I'd be doing the same thing. Rex, you may be talking to your biggest fan on earth. I'll tell you that.
Oh, man. Well, you just made my day. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing extremely well, but I just It's one thing I've been doing morning radio and podcasts and all the rest for 53 years now, and I have my people.
Yeah,
I like everything you've ever been in. I just, what I think it is, Rex, is you've always been the guy walk up and go, yeah, forget about that. Let's get tough. I love that about your characters.
Oh, I love it. Well, I appreciate it, man. I've been really fortunate to be still working, and except for the last 5 months. And thank you, God, for the strike being over. I voted yes last night officially on the ratification. So I'm done with the picket line. I've had all that I want. So I'm ready to go back to work.
Yeah, I tell you, we, by the way, Rex Linn with us, his TV film roles, and helping to promote Reba's book, Not That Fancy, Simple Lessons on Living, Loving, Eating, and Dusting Off Your Boots. I like that one. That's a good title.
That's great, isn't it?
It is a wonderful thing. But Rex, I mean, CSI Miami, Big Sky, you just go down the list of things. You always play that character that, and I don't know how to describe this, but it's kind of like, if I were not that character, but if I got in that same situation, I'd have the exact same attitude that Rex Linn has.
Man, I need to have you in my life more often. You're helping me out today, brother. I appreciate that very much, man. I'm just trying to do the best I can. I'm just happy to be going to work when I go to work. I can tell you that.
No, that's very true. Yeah, that strike must have been a little hard to get through, huh?
Well, you know what? It really was, but it was really necessary this time. Not that the rest of them haven't been, but this one was important, and it was great to see. We got out. I started off on Warner Brothers, outside Warner Brothers was my first 2 or 3 picket line days, and it was great to see all the A-listers out there, picketing, and everybody. It was really important to everyone. It wasn't just. Everybody was out there. It was fun to see people picketing and really fighting hard for what we deserve. And it looks like, I just read all the agreement last night for the first time, but it looks like, it's going to really behoove us, and it's going to be a really great thing. I hope, looks like it is.
Yeah, you had to battle AI because that is going to get more and more intrusive if you don't. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah, it's weird, man. It's not, I kind of thought a while back that AI was in the future. AI is right now.
Yes. Yep.
It's not in the future. It's here, and it's that, and also our compensation on residuals. That was a big deal from streaming. We had to really get that changed, and so it looks like we got a great deal about in regard to compensation for streaming residuals, and so it's just it looks like a great agreement all the way around. So I'm happy.
No question about it. We're talking to Rex Linn about Reba's book, Not That Fancy, Simple Lessons on Living, Loving, Eating, and Dusting Off Your Boots. Now, here's a perfect example of why when you jumped on, I wanted to thank you immediately for being you, because I've been a fan forever. And I'll read a line. It will show you exactly, Rex Linn, why I'm such a big fan. Because you're a big guy. You're a tough guy, strong guy.
Uh-huh.
But Reba calls Rex the love of her life, and Rex has a huge role in Not That Fancy. Reba shares their love story, their favorite recipe for tater tots.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I'm telling you right now, we had our first date. We didn't even know it was our first date. I was doing a series called Young Sheldon, and still in. We got one season left, but I'd been on it for years, but she got cast on it, and I called her, and we've kept in touch over the years. And I called her and asked her to dinner, and we went to dinner. But unbeknownst to both of us, it was officially our first date.
Mm-hmm.
And after the date, we had this really wonderful meal. There were some other people there with her, and then we went down the road to this little wine bar. And we got a buddy of mine owns the wine bar. We went in the back to this little VIP room, and the waitress, the girl came in. She goes, "Hey, I know you guys have been to dinner and everything, but we do have a couple special appetizers tonight if you're interested." And Reba said, "What do you got?" And she said, "Well, our excuse me, our favorite thing that we have are tater tots. She said, we'll have 2 orders of tater tots. And I am legendary. I have legendary nicknames for people. And the thing about them is they have to present themselves. I don't premeditate them. And I don't care if you like them or not. If they stick, they just stick. Well, right when she said tater tots, I just looked at her and said, that is your new nickname. And she immediately became tater tot to me. So, but that's one of our favorite meals.
I don't remember where it had to be on CSI Miami though. But one of the first things that I really liked about you as an actor is you present yourself and you're a pretty big guy, like I said, and you got that attitude, especially on CSI Miami. You had kind of an edge to you. But my favorite thing is you used a line that I say all the time. A perpetrator was trying to be a tough guy with you, and your character said, yeah, I wouldn't do that if I were you, which I thought was fantastic. I love
that. you know, one line I improv, they never let me improv on CSI Miami. It was always, you had to stick to the dialogue that was written.
Sure.
I was in the jail cell with this guy, David Caruso, and I were in there with this criminal, and he said, I said, where he was missing his identity bracelet. And I said, where's your bracelet? He said, I don't know, I lost it. And I said, I'm going to ask you again, where's the bracelet? And he said, I lost it. And I said, it just came out. I just said, do I have dumbass written all across my bald forehead? and they said, at the end of it, they said, cut. And I looked at David and I said, man, I'm going to get in trouble for this. And the writers came over and said, what did you say? And David said, just let him say it. It's good. And they kept it. So
wonderful.
I was always happy for that. So,
Rex, 10 minutes is not long enough. You're going to have to fly into town and come in the studio. It's all there is to it.
Well, we'd love to. And I tell you what, you guys, if you don't have Not That Fancy right now, you need to get it. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anywhere on the Google machine. It's a great book, especially if you're a Reba fan. You're going to love it. It's not just about food. It's about lifestyle and her life and things that are important to her. And it's a really, really great book. And I hope everybody grabs a hold of it.
I'll tell you what, I know you got to go, but I will close with a line about Reba, because she was terrific on Big Sky. And I didn't know, she reminds me a lot of my wife, a beautiful woman who's tough as hell. I loved her.
Oh, good. Well, she had a great time on the show. And I couldn't wait at one point, we thought she was going to be the killer in it. And, because they didn't know who was going to be it. And so it was a lot of fun to see her in that kind of role. And she knocked it out of the ballpark.
Yep.
She was great.
She
was
was
fun to watch.
Not That Fancy, simple lessons on living, loving, eating, and dusting off your boots is available everywhere. And Rex Linn, one of these days, we're going to have a little lunch somewhere or something. We'll hook up somewhere, man.
I'd love it. Thank you for the kind words. We appreciate it. And remember now, it's not that fancy.
Thank you, sir. He just closes with it. I love that guy. How tall is he? Because he looks like a big guy, but you never know in Hollywood. I mean, he's broad-shouldered and all the rest of it, but he looks like he's a pretty big, tall guy. I think
6'4".
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And it's funny that he says that he wasn't allowed to ad lib, so which means that David Caruso didn't come up with all those cheesy lines to open up the movie. I wonder if he ever rolled his eyes, like, really, David's got to say this.
Yeah. See, I agree with you 100% because some of those lines, like, oh, really?
There was one episode I remember specifically where somebody was stabbed in like the chest with an icicle and dies, and it was like probably Rex's character is like, "Oh, that's cold," and then David Caruso's just like, "No, it's ice cold."
There you go.
Music, music plays.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
You gotta have loud music. I did love that show though, CSI Miami.
Oh, it was fantastic.
It's a damn good show. 11 seasons, I think. It was about 11 seasons, something like that.
I feel like it's been longer than that.
Yeah, I would have assumed that it was.
Oh, really?
Oh no, it was only 10 seasons.
It was only 10 seasons.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was 11, but it was only 10. That's amazing.
I think I get thrown off just because there's like 7 different CSI shows.
Yeah,
it was great. Yeah, when it was just CSI Miami, obviously the regular CSI, and then I think New York.
The regular CSI was that Las Vegas?
Yes, I believe that was Las Vegas.
Yep, you're right.
And then then they started adding CSI, Dubuque, Iowa, and
I don't know about that.
CSI Fargo.
Yeah,
in New York. I don't know about Dubuque.
It was like every city that there's a Real Housewives show in also had CSI in it.
God, now you just gave me another great thought that popped up because Gary Sinise was a star of CSI New York, and he's come on the show all the time because he does a lot of charity work and all that stuff. Just a really nice guy. He came on the show once. He goes, Tommy, I'm so excited, man. I had a great night, and I'm gonna do it again today, and I'm just so fired up. This guy's a big, huge TV star. Has been in a ton of movies. I mean, what was the name of his character? The something about Dan. He was in the band. What the hell movie is that? He was terrific in it. Doesn't matter, but he was all fired up about. I said, man, this guy's a huge star. I said, Gary, what are you so excited about? He goes, I do Cadillac commercials. I said, yeah, I see your Cadillac commercials all the time. He goes, you know who I just did a couple of commercials with? Man, it was so exciting. I said, who? He goes, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant, and I got to ride it with him all day. He was all fired up because he got to meet Robert Plant. Yeah. And then I told him I had lunch with Robert Plant once at the deli in New York, which is no longer the Carnegie's not even there anymore, which pisses me off. But I didn't know I was having lunch with Robert Plant. He was just sitting next to me because he just sat at these benches, kind of picnic tables, they kind of looked like.
Yeah.
And he was sitting right next to me. We're talking the whole time. And then all of a sudden I introduced myself and he said, yeah, I'm Robert Plant. And I went, Jesus, I didn't even know it was him.
How cool.
But he was so excited. I got to ride around with Robert Plant.
It's always interesting to hear what celebrities other celebrities get excited to see. Like there was one Chance the Rapper. He was getting interviewed on some red carpet after an award show, and Beyonce walks behind him and just kind of taps him on the shoulder, and she keeps walking. And he turns and looks, and then he does a double take, and he stops and he's like, that's Beyonce. Oh my gosh, she just touched my shoulder. He just freaks out. I'm like, oh yeah, it's always fun to see this whole.
You ever met her?
No.
You would know Beyonce?
You would know if I met Beyonce because I would be a changed person. I'd float in here.
Is she? I mean, she's stunningly beautiful.
Yeah. You get from everything I've heard is she's a wonderful person to be around. Every once in a while, you'll hear maybe somebody's like, well, she's not as nice as she seems, but I feel like overall 10 out of 10 person to meet.
And she's married to Jay-Z or who's, yeah, she's married to Jay-Z. I happen to know this because there's a place called Little Palm Island down in Florida. It's amazing. It was an island that was bought by the Kennedy family to shoot the movie PT 109. They bought the island to shoot the movie. And the old man had electricity and plumbing and all that stuff go out to the island. And it was just a great place to hang out and see all these different people. And God, no, what the hell? What were we just talking about?
Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Oh, yes, there you go. So Jay-Z and Beyonce bought the island about, I don't know, a few hundred feet down the shore. They bought the island and they were building a house on it. And then they realized their yacht was so big they couldn't park it next to the island.
Yeah, they have obscene amounts of money.
They do.
There was a report years ago that their commute from wherever they were living in like Jersey or something, they had to commute to New York, and it took them an hour and a half with traffic. And Jay-Z didn't like that, so they bought a helicopter so they could just fly in, land, and leave. And people will have the debate of would you take $1 million or like $500,000 in cash or dinner with Jay-Z where he can like teach you how to become successful. And everybody goes, oh, dinner with Jay-Z is going to give me so much wisdom. And somebody tracked down Jay-Z and asked him, and he was like, don't be an idiot. Take the money. He's like, don't have dinner with me.
Speaking of rich people, by the way, remember a couple of weeks ago, I brought up the fact that one of the Estee Lauder family, I think it's Colin Lauder, I think is his name, bought Rush Limbaugh's house and tore it down.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he bought when Rush bought the house in 1998, he paid, I think, $3.8 million for it. I think it was Connor Lauder bought it for $110 million and tore it down.
Oh, $1 million tear down.
No, like $100 million teardown.
Yeah.
How wild.
So I got a little bad news for the Lauder family. Did you read any Estee Lauder stories this morning?
No.
Oh no.
Nope.
You might want to look it up. They have dropped $15 billion this year.
Oof.
Their net worth dropped by $15 billion.
Yeah, might have wanted to run some numbers before tearing the old house down.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
Maybe that outdated kitchen isn't as annoying as you think.
Yeah.
I should probably look that story up and see what that, how could they have, I mean, because that was 100 million, but 15 billion, that's hard to spend that much money.
I can't even fathom that. Like in
No.
my head. Like that's obviously I understand like that's a large number, but like the actual amount of money, I don't even, if you gave me a week or even a month, maybe even give me a year, I don't think I could like spend just willy-nilly $15 billion.
I wouldn't think so.
It's probably almost impossible.
I don't know how you could do that.
Did anybody know? You guys looking it up?
Yeah. So I mean, looks like it's from November 1st, and yeah, their stock crashed 19% to a 6-year low, where they lost nearly $3 billion as of November 1st. So yeah, it's continued to go down.
Then only 12 billion more after that. It's like, God.
So the product they make, the one I can obviously think about is makeup.
Mm-hmm.
What else do they put out, Tom, that I'm missing? Like what?
I have no idea what the. Have you ever seen her house in Palm Beach?
No.
It is almost as big as the hotel that's right next door to it.
Oh my God.
It's a Palomino. That house is huge. Those kids can spend some money. So, but I don't know how do you recover? Because I think their net worth was I don't even know how much their net worth was. But if you've dropped 15 billion, can you recover from that?
Yeah, I mean, you had over 15 billion to lose. So I mean, and I'm sure it's not like they're now living on the street trying to figure out how they're going to pay the bills. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to wake up one day and find out that I lost 15 billion. I'll tell you that.
So
Does it say? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. They own a bunch of companies.
Yeah.
And they're mostly makeup, but I can kind of feel out when I hear all the brands, I can kind of feel out the outdatedness. Okay, so they're all makeup, but like Bobbi Brown, okay, good. Too Faced, not so great. MAC Cosmetics, okay. They have a lot of buildings. La Mer is really high end. Bumble and Bumble, it's okay. But here's the thing is, Clinique, you never hear about Clinique anymore.
No, not at all.
And a lot of this, I could be wrong, but a lot of this landscape is now celebrity cosmetics came out so much in the last 2 or 3 years. So like the Kylie lip, liner, the Jeffree Star, things like that. So I don't know if they're just not moving with the times because like I never hear about Clinique ever anymore.
No, they almost need to find the next big celebrity and give them their own line of makeup under their Estee Lauder, whatever, and that's how they can help recover.
God, you just gave me a perfect transition word. Picking the right guy. Do you see who might run for president of the United States?
No, but I'm excited.
The Rock.
No, he's not.
He's thinking of running for president of the United States.
I mean, can we be a serious group of people for
never
5
again.
minutes?
Never
What are we
again.
doing?
Right.
What are we doing?
Well, you're not going to like this then, because full disclosure,
don't say that.
I would vote for The Rock. I would vote
that.
for The Rock
There you go.
right now, today.
No.
What is wrong with you?
No, he can't talk to diplomats across the world.
I don't care
What are we doing here?
if we ever get into a situation where he's got to wrestle somebody or put the camouflage on and go save somebody or get into a fast car and drive and jump across like 2 bridges with Vin Diesel.
Okay.
Let's go.
I'm defeated.
Didn't Ronald Reagan do all those things?
Isn't this what his TV show premise is about? Like, it can't be real. This is so stupid. That's just like the young Rock is like they're interviewing him while he's running for president and he's looking back at his life. Like, it's not real, Tevin. It can't be real. Don't make it real.
Donald Trump wasn't supposed to be really running for president either.
Yeah, true.
And now look at where we're at. And if we were going to have, why not? Crazier things have happened.
Well,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, 2020, whatever. Let's go.
Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor and he won, and he was nothing more than an actor who couldn't even speak English.
Right.
So there you
know
go.
What? I'm worried that Tevin doesn't know what year we're voting for president right now.
Maybe.
Like 2024. Right.
I think I just don't want The Rock to be in like a bunker and then be like, yeah, order missile strike on that village. And then he's like, there's like a weird silence in the room, and he's like, if you're some man.
Okay, he's not breaking out into a Moana song.
What are you talking about? What? No, that's just like
That's wrestling.
That's wrestling. What are you talking about?
And if he's going to bring, here's what I'm hoping for.
Look how excited he is over this.
The Rock, if he decides to run in 2024, great. If I were him, I'd wait till the next presidential cycle. You get Kevin Hart on board to be his vice president because they're best buds.
You're an unserious
Let's
person.
go.
AJ's going home.
Think of all the money we save on security. The Rock can protect himself.
That's
he does
true.
not need security.
That's true.
For the I'm not upset at you. I'm
I
upset
know.
that there are real people who like legitimately have that thought.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like people out there are like, no, I 100% would. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, that's like when Donald Trump, I remember after he got elected, people were going, well, who should run next? And they're like, well, Oprah should run for president, or Mark Cuban, who owns the Dallas Mavericks, he should run for president. And it's like, you can't just take, whatever business person or successful in their field and throw them into the office. So no, if The Rock was president, it'd probably be terrible for the country. But at this point, it's all a reality show anyway. So who cares?
One of the great things about it is I believe he announced it on the Joe Rogan show. I think that was the first time he brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said it, Rogan did this. He goes, I'm thinking about running for president. And Rogan goes, falls backward in his chair. It's like, oh my God. So I don't know if he's serious, but he did say, what in front of you, you got it, that he is serious?
I'm looking it up, and it doesn't.
If he's
I would be surprised if he's actually serious.
If he's serious, I might shut the stream off. We might be done for the day.
I'm dying.
I need time to process all of that.
You don't think it'd be too good for the country? Is that what you're
Could
saying?
you imagine him giving like the State of the Union or something?
Maybe I think that would be fine because he's a promo guy. He did WWE for all that time.
Right.
Well,
but
can you smell what The Rock is cooking in the Oval Office?
I would love to see him like just any politician like. And how does this legislation make you feel? And like Mitch McConnell steps up and he's like, "Well, it doesn't matter how it makes you feel."
See, Tom, this is when I kind of fall into like where British people might have it right. Like we should have the front-facing people who pretend to be running the country, and then the actual, and Rock he can make all the speeches. He can dance around in his little outfits in front of the White House. I don't care. But like, I do want actual people who know how the system works to be working.
So we don't have anybody like that now.
No, I don't say we did, but like, I'm just saying at this point, we should split it in two of like who we're voting for and who we see out in the front being like, look at me, I'm a politician. And then like somebody out back being like, these are how laws are actually.
Look at me, I'm a politician.
What are you singing, like an old pirate song?
Yes.
Coming to a theater near you, Congress the musical.
You're welcome.
I don't know if he's running as a Republican or a Democrat. I have no idea what his politics are.
I don't even care.
But can you imagine being a tough guy running your mouth about The Rock like they do about Trump and Biden?
Right. But even this, what was it the other day when the one Congress guy or whatever they got into a fight in whatever meeting they were having. Nobody's going to challenge The Rock. You want to come up here and fight right now? Absolutely. Just rips out of his suit, Incredible Hulk style.
He just flexes once and it tears to shreds.
So you're not wild about the idea, huh?
And maybe I'm being closed-minded, but it's just like I want to hear like what sort of like tax reform does he have? Like what does The Rock have any plan to do other than just like it'd be cool to be president? That's what I think.
That's true.
Like he's just like, yeah, it'd be cool.
Absolutely true. We'll take a break, be right back. We'll get Timmy Lammer's opinion on Rock as president of the United States right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. Listen live on the Tom Barnard Show app or at tombernardshow.com.
You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, legal issues, banking, and more. The same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you. Josh Arnold. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation, 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That is 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did. And tell him his guy, Tom, sent you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
This is Bob Sansevier, and I want to tell you about Dave Bialke from Bialke Law. Dave represented my wife, Mary, when she had a significant workplace injury. She was very happy with the job Dave did. If you have a work-related injury and have Dave represent you, I'm betting you'll be happy too. Dave is a down-to-earth guy. He grew up in northern Minnesota, rides a Harley, and worked various jobs doing concrete, electrical, plumbing, roofing, and carpentry work. Dave works for people with work-related injuries. If you work construction, or anywhere for that matter, and you're hurt or even just hurting, you should talk to Dave. Let's face it, our bodies wear out. If your body is worn out from work, if your knees or back or shoulders hurt from things you do at work, do what Mary did. Call Dave and talk to him about it at Bialke Law to set up a free initial consultation. The number to call is 763-571-2410. That's 763-571-2410. Or visit bialkelaw.com. That's BIALKE law.com.
Recently, Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC was contacted by a company that does on-site sales. Jim was confused.
Wait, they don't know anything about us, our staff, our reputation, most importantly, our customers.
Hey, pal, no problem. We do them all over the country. You know, get the manager off the roof sale, inflatable gorilla sale, and our favorite, the 13-hour sale with a giant clock that goes to 13. Urgency, baby. We bring our crew because, well, your people are, let's just say, a little laid back.
And the pricing?
Nothing special, sport.
But Jim thought, we price competitively every day. Our prices are special. We definitely don't need these guys. But sale does convey some urgency, so we made a bold decision for his fine dealerships.
Announcing the Valley Buick GMC 365-day sale. And we can even extend it a couple years or so.
I got the air dancer guy, scratch offs, plastic keys, bubble machine.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Hurry.
There you have it, Andy. I'm going to have to lob this at you because it's going to be pretty much the rest of the day because Timmy Lammers just joined us too. I just told the people that The Rock is thinking of running for president, and Tevin got a little excited about it. I will tell you that.
It's like when Jesse Ventura was our governor. It's like,
Right.
Was he qualified? No, but it was interesting.
Yeah, and I've done some digging. There is an official. It's not like his website looks like a fan put it together, but it's just DwayneForPresident.com. But yeah, apparently since 2017, he's been kind of mulling over the idea of potentially running for president.
I did not know that. Ladies and gentlemen, Timmy Lammers is brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyers. Seeking justice for the injured, contact Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Michael Brandt, Bradshaw and Bryant, bringing you Timmy Lammers. What do you think, Timmy?
I think that it is a publicity thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, I will tell you, if you see the documentary Arnold, the 3-part deal on Netflix, the guy did really have a civic interest in what he was doing.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And you really do realize that with that. You know, Ventura, I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't think he expected to win, and he was surprised. The Rock, though, clearly the guy has always been great at PR, and you know, this is just a publicity thing for him, I would imagine.
Wait a minute. Brittany just threw another booger rag on the floor. What was that all about?
I had a sneeze attack. Thank God I have a mute button because, like, sometimes that hits me, man. And I've been trying to be so polite, but I'm so sorry. I had a sneeze attack. If you see it on the video.
It's funny. I was looking at Tim, and you're right above Tim on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Tim, and all of a sudden I see this cloth flying through the air.
I've got a pile here in my closet that I can
great. Another one of the animals in my menagerie, Tom, or something.
Yes, exactly. I don't know. Rock could probably be as good a president as either Trump or Biden, I would think.
Yeah. I think you'd get the country motivated. That's for sure.
I would think, yeah.
And look, I really like the guy. I mean, I know you've interviewed him. I interviewed him once. I mean, he's a terrific guy. And people love him. So sure, why not? Why not?
You think other people in other countries like Xi in China, you think he'd run his mouth to rock if he were president? Probably not.
Wasn't there a Saturday Night Live skit where when Obama was president, when he got angry, he turned into The Rock?
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty funny stuff.
I bet it was really, really good. So what's happening in your life, Timmy?
Well, I tell you what, once in a while, I got a movie coming up and I'm thinking, I do not want to see this at all. What is the fascination with the Hunger Games? After 4 previous films, I had no desire or excitement to see this. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by the thing. The prequel, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, kind of an unwieldy title. But it worked.
I don't know. We watched the whole the series a few years ago, and it was the first few movies were better than I was expecting. The last one kind of went a little off the rails.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I wasn't that excited for this. I'm thinking, again, it's week after week. What Hollywood basically tells you, we can't come up with anything new. We pretty much have to, recycle things or reboot things or whatever. And certainly that's the case with this film. And it actually is very surprising because it's a prequel story and it feels a lot different.
No, I suppose that it probably is true. I don't know. I've never seen the Hunger Games. You guys seen it?
Yeah, I saw the first one, and where it's because that's like Candace Aberdeen, your tribute, Katniss. There we go, and they run around and kill each other.
I read the books and I was obsessed. The books were so fun and good, and I think what happens in the last one, it kind of happened in Game of Thrones too, is you don't get to see the progression of the characters, so it feels like kind of a quick switch. Because it happens a lot in movies where it's like they can't show how this person's turning into a different person kind of thing. So it feels like they kind of jumped the shark. But I don't know. Sometimes I have trouble with origin stories. So since this is a prequel, we know that this main character starts out nice and turns mean. And sometimes I have a hard time just knowing the ending.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, Brittany. I mean, this story is about Coriolanus Snow, played by Donald Sutherland in the original film series.
Oh, sure.
Now he's an 18-year-old kid, essentially. He is recruited to mentor the female tribute from District 12, Lucy Gray Baird, played by Rachel Zegler. And, Tom, just to give you a quick primer on what the Hunger Games is about, there were districts around, I guess this is the post-apocalyptic United States, right? And now the states are divided into 12 districts, and then there's the country or the state of Panem that governs over all of them. Well, these districts rebelled against Panem. Now, since they lost, to make them pay every year, they take 2 tributes, as they call them, 2 people out of each district to battle each other to the death.
Oh, the death.
Kind of keep them under their thumb, right? So when you get to this one, I think it was like the 70th something Hunger Games, right, Brittany, when the Jennifer Lawrence film started?
I can't remember, but it was high. Yeah. At that point, you didn't know a lot of origin. You just kind of knew that brief thing you described. Yeah.
Right. So what we have with this particular film is it's the 10th Hunger Games. It's relatively new.
Okay.
And this is what's really cool. You got the guy who directed the last 3 Hunger Games, Francis Lawrence, who knows how to make these sorts of films. But what he does here is, since it takes place 60 years prior or whatever, it has more of a retro feel to it, which is really cool. And they still are trying to figure out, well, we're trying to attract viewers to these games, right? Yeah. So Coriolanus comes up with these ideas to make it marketable. So that's sort of interesting. And yes, you do see that progression from good to evil, but it isn't like a clear cut one event sort of boom, he's bad sort of thing.
Yeah.
There is a progression there. So this kid, Tom Blythe, or however old he is, he's really good. Rachel Zegler, she's been in the headlines a lot because of Snow White and calling the Prince Charming in the original Snow White cartoon a stalker. Not a good move. Not a good move. She makes you forget all of that because she is really good. Now, what they do here is they try to showcase her talents as a singer. So she plays a singer musician in the film, and the music for the most part fits into the story, but there are times where it feels really awkward. But I will say she is very talented. It's like all these other Hollywood types. Just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything stupid, and we will admire what you do. And I certainly admire what she does in this film.
How old is she? Because
I think she's 20. Well, she played Maria in West Side Story.
Yeah.
22.
She's 22, so she's relatively young. I don't know how old this Tom Blythe guy is, but this is Rachel Zegler's maybe second or third film, and she's really good. And Disney in its wisely pushed the Snow White release back to 2025, so that's a good thing.
I actually feel bad for her because I'm sure, like, among circles she's in, that joke was fine, and there's a lot of things, like, I don't think she was ever ready for the press, and it feels like now the Hunger Games, when they've been doing the press, she's been really coached. They're like, you have to say this, don't say this. I kind of feel bad when people are so young, because that's young. I still say dumb things, but, like, definitely I said dumb things in my 20s. People sure jumped. People, when it comes to classic Disneys, if anybody mentions anything, like, yeah, the leading men weren't exactly stand-up guys all the time. Kissing people while they're sleeping on Snow White isn't exactly ideal.
Right. Like, is that she called him a stalker? And that's what everybody's upset about?
Yes. Well, and that and other things. She was complaining about how the original story was dated and the prince doesn't save Snow White in this movie. I mean, he is basically crapping all over the original. And it was a very, very stupid idea. It was a red carpet situation where, and you're right, Brittany, she's young. She says stupid things. I mean, I just kind of look at her. I wasn't angry about it, but I just kind of think, you're really coming off as a smug pain in the ass.
I just want to go on the record, though, Tim, if I am in a coma, nobody should kiss me. Like, that's...
Why not?
I just feel strongly about that one aspect of my life.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't understand. Kissing is a sign of affection. It's not necessarily sexual.
No, if I'm in a coma, like, just give me
you
a
can't
hug.
you can't
Trying
just
to wake them up.
You can't just roll up to the hospital and go around kissing everybody that's in the coma.
If she's Snow White, you can.
Could you imagine if social media were around back then? There'd be people like purposefully kissing comatose patients. Just
oh my God.
What are you, a weirdo?
I guess that's the question is, like, did he know that the kiss would wake her, or was he just like,
it was true?
Unconscious
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knew that. That's a good question, because is he just going around? Is he like has like a tendencies for negrophiliac?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We're gonna find all of this out when the next Snow White movie, the live action, comes out.
Very close.
2025 for that one. But you know what? This movie made me forget about her being a smug pain in the ass.
Well, good. That's good.
Why are these people employed? They're really good at what they do. They should be, especially in a high-profile movie like this. So, she did, the talent shone through, right? I mean, she is a hell of a singer. And she goes more with a country music approach throughout this film. And it's really good. I mean, it's the sort of stuff I don't know if I'd buy it, but it's kind of like if it came on the radio, I wouldn't switch away. So, it's interesting. She's a very, very talented performer. So it's a good thing that this film came out to take the heat off of her. So, but yeah, overall, look, Tom, 2 hours and 37 minutes.
Oh, God.
That's way too long.
Why? Why do they have to keep doing this?
It didn't, you know what, though? It didn't matter to me this time.
Oh, really?
Normally it does. But again, maybe because I was so, can I say the word gobsmacked?
Gobsmacked.
So surprised.
Brittany does not approve of the gobsmacked.
No, I sneezed.
Gobsmacked.
She just gobsmacked into.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that windstorm yesterday. You have allergies. Not a good time to be
that's
alive.
true. That is true.
So I was so taken aback by how good this movie really is. See, because the way I was approaching it was, the original Hunger Games in 2012, it was Hunger Games mania.
Yeah.
Casts, they were doing mall tours. They came to the Mall of America. I interviewed Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson, all these folks in person. People were treating them like rock stars. It was insane. And it's like, I'm not feeling any of this anticipation. And right now the numbers or predictions are around 50 million. Honestly, I don't know how much the original Hunger Games opened at. Probably a lot more. The problem is with these productions, they get to be so damn expensive that they did a smart thing with the end of this film. It could end properly with it, or it could open a door for more. So it's not like an entire cliffhanger. I think they have to act that way because they just can't assume they're going to give us another $250 million to make another picture.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen one, and I'm never going to see one. I just don't care for that stuff.
Well, the truth of the matter is, they are decent movies. I think everybody who has seen them would agree. Andy, you were talking about them. Yeah, I mean, and Kevin, you said you only saw the first one. Officer Dave, Hunger Games.
Never seen one.
It's very much a millennial movie.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, they're good. I wouldn't call it an appointment or, hey, we need to go see this on opening weekend, at least for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like I said, we watched all the movies. I can't name any character that isn't Katniss. I really couldn't tell you exactly what happened aside from the broad strokes, so I'm not exactly clamoring for a backstory to a character that I didn't know existed.
Yeah. And one movie that one of our listeners messaged in and they are clamoring for, they want to know, Jeff wants to know if you have any insight on the new Wonka movie that's coming out.
We're doing another, oh my God.
Andy's out.
Back to Tim's point, they're just going to remake and remake over and over forever.
It's wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
What is on that kick? And they've been on that kick for years. What I will say, I haven't seen it yet. But first of all, I think Timothée Chalamet is a decent actor. I think he's overrated, though. That's just my personal opinion. I think they make way too much of him. But the first trailer was horrible. It was horrible. So I really don't know. And this is probably a good thing because, again, I wasn't looking forward to the Hunger Games, the new one, and I was pleasantly surprised. To go in with that underwhelming sense with no expectations is probably a good thing for me and for everybody else that has that feeling, going into Wonka as well. We'll find out. It's December 15th that opens.
No, I saw a trailer for a movie coming out. It's not till March, which sucks, but Fall Guy, the Ryan Gosling movie, looks actually pretty decent, I think. It's like this action. I'm sure you're familiar with it, where he's the stunt man on a show.
So it's a remake of the Fall Guy TV show with Lee Majors.
When you put it like that, it doesn't sound as exciting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I grew up in the 80s. I was watching that show, loving that show when it was on.
There you go.
Yeah, so I looked up the budget for the original Hunger Games. That was $80 million, and they made $677 worldwide. So obviously that justified. The plans were in motion. They were going to make a lot of those movies. In fact, they did the Hunger Games cash grab at the end by splitting the last book into two, and that's where that trend, I think, either it began with Harry Potter or that one, but they took advantage of that. And again, this one, I think the future is uncertain.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Movie theaters are having a real hard time getting people to come back because they didn't go during COVID, obviously. They're having a really hard time getting people back in the seats. And I think it's because most of the movies that come out now suck. You think that's part of it?
And I think it is true. I mean, and when they used to depend on these Marvel movies, the Marvels, which opened last week, lowest opening of all 33 Marvel movies.
Yep.
There's 33. That's why. That right there is why.
It's true.
Yeah, that is true. Now, okay, the production budget for this one's $100 million. If it opens at 50, of course, you got to remember the studio takes only so much of the tickets, and then you have marketing. But this one will probably at least break even. It looks like it looks more expensive than it actually is. I mean, this thing is really, I will say, a beautiful movie to look at. The production design, all that sort of stuff that I normally don't get into. that all kind of adds up, and it helps you get into a film. And I think that's why, because again, I noted that retro look that it had. I just thought it was cool. It felt a little different than the other Hunger Games, which is what you really needed. You didn't need a wash, rinse, and repeat entirely with this. You needed something different, and I got it, I think, with this one.
No, I did like the latest Hercule Poirot movie. That was good.
Yeah. And, and the thing is that it's not even one that the whole thing with those, Kenneth Branagh did all of those and plays Hercule, is that they're separate Agatha Christie mysteries.
Yeah.
You know, so basically you take Hercule in this one with a huge ensemble cast, you plug them into number 2, huge cast, plug them into 3. You know, it's a different thing, and it's not a story necessarily to move along. And I think that one is streaming on, it might be Peacock.
Yeah.
Hulu, one of the two already. So if you haven't seen that one, that is a great movie. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is very, very. So there are some movies that come out that are good. We finally waited. We never saw Sound of Freedom in the theaters. Waited till it came out. Great movie, really, really good movie.
Yeah.
But those are about the only two I can think of that were any good recently. Is there something that sticks out in your heads?
Well, I mean, it has been a really rough year for the box office. And I think the whole idea of getting people back into the theaters, I think we're past that pandemic lull, you know. But you know, because of the strike, some stuff was pushed off into 2024. But it was interesting because for a Hollywood trade to quote that film as one of the films that saved Hollywood over the summer is pretty amazing, because that made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for made for 14 million, made over 200 something. It beat Mission Impossible. It beat Indiana Jones. You know, it really did remarkably well. I think one film that is going to be worth seeing, if you didn't see it in theaters, that's coming out that didn't get a fair shake, is Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
You're able to stream it on Disney Plus December 1st or something like that, and I think it'll come out on home video around that time as well. But yeah, I get you. I mean, the whole thing with movies is that it's just not original anymore. You don't get anything that's original.
Yeah, I used to go when I was a younger boy, and I was like, my God, I've never seen anything like that. Although that was the same era. I got very, very pissed off going to the movies. I was, I believe, 10 years old. I went to the Broadway Theater in North Minneapolis to see the movie Girls, Girls, Girls with Elvis Presley. 5 minutes in, I went, I ain't ever going to be that good looking. That was one handsome boy, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, handsome devil. And actually, you know, that we talked about Priscilla. That's always an option, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, there are films coming out. One thing I have to point out, I almost forgot to mention this. You know, you have Rachel Zegler and this Tom Blythe kid in this movie, but Peter Dinklage and Viola Davis.
Yep.
God, are they great actors?
Yeah, they are.
You know, and they really do. They're like the two villainous people in this. You know, Coriolanus becomes the villain, but Peter Dinklage is so damn good. And you know what? I never watched Game of Thrones, so I couldn't tell you how good he was in that. The first time I saw him when he was in a movie called The Station Agent, a long time ago. And I knew from way back then, it was a movie with Bobby Cannavale and somebody else.
I like him too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Terrific actors.
Yeah,
and I talked to Bobby Cannavale a couple of years ago. He says him and Dinklage are still friends from this. Michelle Williams is in it as well, but there's one other actor in it that's very, very well known. But yeah, I mean, so I knew Viola Davis could knock it out of the park. Since I didn't see Peter Dinklage in this, I saw him, and there was a Cyrano de Bergerac sort of movie a year or two ago that I saw him, and he was good, but he's really good in this movie. So, you know, 7.5 out of 10 on the Lamameter for this. You know, I got to knock it off. You know, the originality isn't completely there. The Rachel Zegler singing, yeah, we want to showcase her, but there's some parts it's like, should she really be singing here? It doesn't make any sense. But again, she's a hell of a talent, man.
Nothing wrong with seeing talent there, no doubt. Well, you mentioned about 4 or 5 people in a row. There had a lot of very talented people.
Oh, God, yeah, yeah. And that's, you know what? I'm okay with seeing stuff that I've seen before as long as it's done well. And this is done well. I mean, there's no way you can deny that.
Yep, no question. I got to ask you a question about something, and you might not, and maybe I've asked you this before, and it makes no sense to me, but you know the original Untouchables, the Elliot Ness with Robert Stack?
Yes.
That is not available anywhere. I got lucky and found a box set of the entire series a couple of years ago, but why is that not available on streaming?
The streamers, it used to be Boomtown during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And people started going back to theaters. The proliferation of streaming availabilities happened. And now streamers are starting to cut their budgets, which means licensing certain programs. So all of a sudden, who'd ever thought that DVDs and Blu-rays become cool again?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the reason why. I can't say that for sure, but yeah, I mean, it just gets to the point where stuff is just too expensive for streamers that are really in the red to license. So they got to cut back somewhere. So they probably figure, Untouchables, who's going to miss that? That's probably why.
But it was a terrific show. A lot of real talent in it.
I know. I have to get running. But yeah, again, 7.5 for The Hunger Games. The Ballad. I'd love to hear your trailer voice say it. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
All right. Send me the check and I'll get back to you.
You can go to Fiverr.
There is a movie called The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti where they actually do have a voiceover on the trailer. It's like a throwback.
Oh, well. We're bringing it back, huh?
Yeah, they bring it back. Check that out. All right, everybody have a great weekend. We'll talk next Wednesday because of the Thanksgiving holiday.
All right, Timmy, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Tim Lammers, ladies and gentlemen. I just saw this headline. I have just clicked on this. I don't know what it's about, but it's really weird. What was the best decade for radio? Many Americans say right now. Radio listenership is the lowest it's ever been.
I will say they probably lump podcast in with radio.
Oh, well, yeah, see, there you go. That might be the point.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
We don't know our own. What does that say? We don't. Oh, it says horn. God, it didn't look. We don't toot our own horn a lot. Thankfully, a random sampling of 1,000 Americans just did it for us. Someone asked people to name the best decade for radio, and it's basically a three-way between the 70s, 80s, and right now.
So basically, when I was a kid.
So when you were a kid, and when I was.
Well, no, I mean
19.
The people who are answering.
Yeah, that's probably true. 70s, 80s tied for first, but the 2020s finished a single percentage point behind. The poll asked people to name the top decade for other things. So they don't say why radio is the best it's ever been, just that it is.
Best decade for radio is probably the 1930s.
I would have to agree with that 100%. Before World War II.
Before World War II and before TV, people just sat around the radio.
Right. Because if you wanted to be an entertainer, you didn't have the option to be TV star. You don't have to be radio.
That's right. Movies, I don't think, I mean, they existed, but they weren't really that big of a thing yet.
Okay, let's see if you agree with the other one. So they say radio is the best it's ever been, or at least 1 point behind. Best music, the 1980s got the most votes. No.
70s were better.
70s were better, yeah.
When you were a kid, you mean?
Well, in the 60s, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. I mean, it's pretty hard to hold back the 60s, I would think.
But that was the mid to late 60s, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then during the 70s, you had all those great rhythm and blues bands that were just, Atlanta rhythm section and all those that were just coming out with these phenomenal songs.
Brittany, I'm curious because you made a face. Where is your best music?
Well, I definitely wouldn't say the 80s. The 80s are probably my least favorite fashion music. And I get it, it's like fun. But the 80s, their music compared to the 70s and 60s, like 70s and 60s concentrated on the artists. The 80s started getting kind of zany with their music.
Yeah, corny,
Yeah, and like leaning away from talent and more personality, which is fun, but I wouldn't say puts them in the best music category.
Well, but is this best music, or is it because the question is like best decade for radio, but what does that mean?
But now this says best music, the 80s got the most votes. Best movies, also the 80s. Best TV, the 2020s, followed by the 1990s. The best books, 1940s or earlier.
What?
Best fashion, 2020s. Best food right now got 3 times more votes than any other decade.
Well, I would agree with the food one.
Yeah, the food one I would have to agree.
There's more options, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's largely better.
So why does the people who answered this survey, why do they think the 80s was the best decade for almost everything except for books and fashion?
Because they were born in the mid 1960s.
Yeah, I was going to say I would be curious to see the age of the people voting. Because
I guarantee you it's a 1-to-1 correlation.
It doesn't say, though. That's kind of weird that they wouldn't say that.
Because if you ask me, I'd be like, oh, the early 2000s, that was the best music, best TV, because it's
of course the world was
your wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's
the
what I know.
world was at its best when we were kids.
First off, I want to know people who voted on the books. Like, I never know what year most things I'm reading are anyways.
That's true.
But like, what was it about the 1940s literature that you're going, this is the best decade? And I'm not saying it's not.
Pre-40s, right?
No, it said 1940s.
The 1940s, yes.
Or earlier.
The 40s?
For the books, yes. It says 1940s or earlier,
Yeah,
so
there
you're
you go.
both right. Yeah.
So it's basically just new books suck, is what they're saying.
Well, but
Let's
you
see,
have to...
1940s, we got 1984, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Good Night Moon.
I hate that book. I hate Goodnight Moon. It's
I
weird.
cry every time I had to read that book to my kids.
I cry because of why is that old lady in
That's
a
not
room?
Good Night Moon. That's I Love You Forever.
No, the old lady.
Moon is the one where they like say good night to everybody.
Yeah,
right?
just like Good Night Moon.
Yeah. A Goodnight Moon is that weird bunny lady they put in the room with the kid, and there's like food sitting out. It's like a weird vibe. I don't like.
It's very surrealistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to remember, though, in the 1940s, you had people like J.D. Salinger, and I could go on and on and on. Phenomenal authors.
Yeah. Fountainhead, Stuart Little. Let's see, Animal Farm.
Yeah,
Stuart Little, like the little mouse.
Yeah.
Animal Farm is
Curious
good.
George.
Jeez.
Yeah, actually, a lot of really, really popular books were in the 40s.
Yeah. Good for the 40s.
Why can't your time, the people like you and Brittany, you cannot be happy for anybody else?
I just said good for the 40s.
No, with that smile on your face, smart ass smile.
Good for the
40s.
Well, I could be like you and go like all rap music sucks that's ever been made. So I give the 40s props.
Okay, when was The Great Gatsby written? Because that's like
We're
anybody.
talking about something else here. I don't know if you
The
noticed
40s?
that or not.
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna go on a. All right.
Go ahead, Brittany.
It was 25, so that's old.
I'm just surprised that that's not what people pick because most people, that's like the most read book where they go, that's my favorite book with people who don't read a lot because it's a nice book to get into.
Which one's that?
The Great Gatsby. So like,
Gatsby's
I'm
good.
not saying the best books are written right now. I'm just surprised 1940s was picked. That's all.
I was
Very specific.
I was just about to tell Tevin to get the hell out of the studio after that wise ass, and then you trampled me, and I didn't get a chance to.
Sorry.
You see what I'm saying?
Also, I think the style of books has kind of changed where in the past it was predominantly all stories or whatever, and now it's more memoirs and listen to how great my life biography is. And so
More me now.
Yep. Biographies are like half of what gets put out now. It's all like celebrities, and especially it's like celebrities in their 50s who's, they've still got life left. So it's like, why are you writing a memoir?
I'm just really glad you didn't say some life left as a 55-year-old.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Thank you for that.
And we have to go to break, but into break, I would like to point out, I hate rap because it destroyed the R&B market. That's why I hate it. I love R&B music.
There's some good R&B music out right now.
You got to dig deep to find it.
No, look up like some SZA. Yeah.
SZA?
Yeah, she's phenomenal. She's about to win Album of the Year.
All right.
Oh, the SZA.
SZA, yep.
Her name is SZA.
Yeah, well, they're running out of names. You got to be creative. You got to be creative.
It sounds like she's running out of letters.
Yes, exactly.
3 left.
Very good point. By the way, Timmy Lammer is brought to you by Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyers. Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyers seeking justice for the injured, as a matter of fact. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. The lovely and talented Kristen Burt will come and break this whole thing up. Who's better, SZA or rap music? We're going to find out next.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. Listen live at tombarnardshow.com or on the Tom Barnard Show app.
Tom here, and I just read a success story from MN Fat Loss client Elizabeth, who just completed the program. Elizabeth writes, I'm a 54-year-old woman who has struggled with losing weight. I had almost constant heartburn, trouble sleeping, brain fog. I tried counting calories, eating bars and shakes, and several other programs in which I would lose 5 to 10 pounds after months of struggling. After 60 days of the MN Fat Loss program, I was down 25 pounds. MN Fat Loss had really empowered me to believe that I can control my eating and my weight without having to sacrifice foods that I like. If you're thinking about finally committing to improving your health, this is the time to start. You won't regret your investment in yourself. It's so easy to see if MN Fat Loss is a good fit for you. They offer a free phone consultation to learn about the program. They also have virtual options to help you if you live far away, which I think is a brilliant idea. To schedule that free phone consultation, go to mnfatloss.com. The only thing you have to lose is that unwanted weight. That's www.mnfatloss.com. I cannot wait to hear about your success story. And please let them know that Tom sent you.
In a world that's racing a mile a minute, a split-second distraction can change everything. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. Every day we see too many people, heads buried in their phones, unaware of the dangers they're in. Texting and driving isn't just reckless, it's playing Russian roulette with your life and the lives of others. In just 4 seconds of distraction, you've driven the length of a football field. Is there any text message that's worth your life, that's worth the lives of others? I've been fighting for the rights of the injured for over 30 years, but I'd rather you never meet me in a courtroom. So hear me now, stop texting and driving. Pay attention. Value your lives and the lives around you. And if you won't, know this, at Bradshaw & Bryant, we're relentless. We won't back down. We bring justice to those that need it.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
With Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
Hello, I'm Brad Huckle, President and Chief Lending Officer at North American Banking Company.
And I'm Michael Bilski, CEO at North American Banking Company.
As a locally owned and operated community bank, we work with many multi-generational businesses.
Take Personal Care Dentistry of Roseville, for example. Dr. Walter Hunt, also known as Painless to me, has been a longtime customer of the bank since we opened the bank in 1998.
When his son Kyle was ready to join the practice, they wanted to expand quickly.
With their additional space and equipment, they now are able to see more patients each day while providing the same level of care and service.
Okay, guys, I'll take it from here. If you run a family business or any kind of business for that matter, you should be banking with Brad and Mike over at North American Banking Company. Every time I deal with them or their team, I know I'm working with experienced professional bankers. So why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The new Tom Barnard Show is proud to have partners like Bradshaw & Bryant, MyPillow, and North American Banking Company founder, chairman, and president, Mike Bilski.
I've advertised on Tom's show for years, and the reason is simple. My business is recognized because of the ads, and that recognition has created growth. What business doesn't want to grow? I highly recommend the Tom Barnard Morning Show for your advertising.
Grow results for your business by partnering with the Tom Barnard Show. Visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner.
You know, you're not supposed to be drinking alcohol while you're on this show. I'd like to point
It's
it
a
out.
tangerine La Croix.
Oh, I love Tangerine La Croix. Their stuff is really good.
It's so good.
What about the coconut? You drink the coconut?
I don't. I haven't tried it. Is it delicious?
Brittany.
It's so good. But are you and I just addicted to coconut, Tom? Because that's what the buy we like.
You and me will be together eternally. I don't know. I do love coconut. That is true. You're right. I can go with an Almond Joy, a Mounds. I'm good to go.
And
I just
some
don't
people,
understand people who don't like those.
yeah, some
Yeah,
people
see?
who with the coconut stuff, I have been informed at our house that they are drinking suntan lotion and they would like me to never bring it back inside home.
I think coconut's like cilantro. It's a palate thing. Either people
Oh,
love
sure.
it or they hate it. I mean, I love coconut. I just haven't tried the La Croix version of it.
It's good.
But it's not in the, I don't think it's in the Costco pack. That's probably why.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think it is. I think you're right. I don't think it is in there. I do have to ask you about this, Kristen Burt. David Letterman's coming back to the Late Show for a visit.
Yes, he
What's
is.
that all about?
He's just stopping by, visiting Stephen Colbert, seeing how his studio's going.
Has he still got the beard and is he still looking like an imam?
He looks like a mountain man. Yeah.
He does look like a mountain man. That is true. And by the way, he's not a mountain man, but he's trying to get that idea going. So when's he going to be on?
The 20th. So is that Monday?
Yeah.
1920. Yeah, Monday.
He's going to be on Monday night with Stephen Colbert.
And the first time he's been on since he retired.
Right. He's
Yep.
not been on his own show.
So that might be, see, every once in a while, the late night shows give us a reason to watch, or at least watch the clip the next morning.
Well, and in my case, they gave me 2 reasons to not watch. Both Stephen Colbert and David Letterman, because I've never liked either one of them.
Oh, I used to love David Letterman. He used to make me laugh. I even remember when he was having an affair with one of his staff members, and then he was talking about being blackmailed, and we're all watching this unfold during his monologue, and you're like, everyone was like laughing uncomfortably, thinking that this is leading up to a big joke. And no, he's revealing that he was extorted for an affair that he's having with someone who came up through the intern ranks at the Late Show. I mean, it was unbelievable to watch.
You know, I can't even hear monologue when somebody laughs like this. I can't even listen to it.
They all do that. I
know they do.
I think it's an awkward device. Instead of saying like, or, you know, that type of like give a momentary pause, they do their own little laugh just to give them a beat.
Which is the one who did the psychic letter reading thing?
Carson.
That was Carson?
I think so, yeah.
All right, then Carson is the most recent one I'm familiar with. So that tells you how tuned in I am to that circuit.
Karnak, the Magnificent.
Yeah, was it what was it? The Great Karnak?
Karnak.
Karnak.
Indeed. And the greatest thing is Ed McMahon to go, I got another question for you here. Those two worked together so well. It was unbelievable.
His laugh was iconic. You go,
it was. He used to come on all the time. Every time he came on the morning, she'd go, here's Tommy. I thought it was wonderful.
That's amazing. Who are you?
I have no idea who the hell I am. That's all I'm saying. But I think it's a good idea for David Letterman to come back. All those talk shows don't do well anymore. Not one of them does anything anymore.
Yeah, but they still hold a value. I think, as we spoke about the other day, it's you don't go and cancel the Tonight Show. You don't cancel the Late Show.
Right.
They're legacy shows. They still deliver moments virally that resonate on social media, and it still brings in enough advertising dollars to keep it on the air versus canceling it. Because as we know, if you all of a sudden go, we're just going to cancel the Tonight Show, what are you putting on in that hour?
Yeah.
Because there's still a built-in audience that is going to watch it, even if it's millions and millions of less people than it was 20 years ago. You still have a guaranteed audience.
Well, there used to be talk shows on like that that started at about noon and got over every night at midnight. There were talk shows on all day long for a while. Was it
talk shows, soap operas? I mean, even daytime has changed tremendously.
Oh, absolutely. It's changed a lot. What's the guy's name? He was kind of a soft-spoken guy. He's the one who said to Muhammad Ali.
Phil Donahue?
Was it Phil Donahue? No, it wasn't Phil Donahue.
Tom Snyder or
no, wasn't him either.
Dick Cavett or those guys. Those guys had those talk
Dick Cavett?
Had those long. I remember Muhammad being on the Dick Cavett show.
So was that the one where he had been he broke Ken Norton broke his jaw?
What about Merv Griffin?
No, it wasn't Merv Griffin, but he came on, and I'll never forget this because the host said to Muhammad Ali, I've got to be honest with you, boy, I don't know. If I had gotten hit that hard, I'd probably still be knocked out. And Muhammad Ali looks at him and goes, if it hit you that hard, your beneficiaries will still be collecting. In other words, it would have killed you. That might have been Dick Cavett. I think it was Dick Cavett. But I used to love watching talk television, but people just don't care for that anymore. I don't know why, but they don't. Well, the ones now are not very good. That's one reason.
Well, Kelly Clarkson does very well. Drew Barrymore does very well in that space.
Yeah.
But it's just changed because you have to remember when a lot of these, when soap operas were popular, when daytime talk shows were popular, it was women who were working inside the home full time, keeping a lot of these shows on the air. When women started working outside the home, it changed the face of daytime and what people are asking for. And that's why it's mostly news throughout the day.
Yeah.
That's what it is now. Is it really news, or is it my opinion on what the news should be? Because boy, it's gotten way left and way right.
Well, LA, it's mostly just local news. They just do extended broadcasts. And they cut in every once in a while with a high-speed chase, really known as a low-speed chase on the freeways.
In LA, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and actually, this is funny. Pluto TV, which is one of the free television networks out there that you can get that are streaming, they have an official car chase channel now. And you can watch classic car chases. I'm sure most of them are from Los Angeles. And if there's something exciting happening, like in LA, they will cut in with a live feed now. So for anyone who's addicted to that, you got your own channel
by
now.
OJ?
Yeah, you could watch the OJ one. I'm sure that's going to be on there at a certain point.
No, the fact that they're televising every chase now.
They do, and some of these people are so stupid, they will sit there and they'll pull over and they'll try and jump a fence and you're like,
God.
and in LA, I'm like, people, their backyards, it's not just like extensive woods in their backyards. You run into a cement wall, guaranteed.
And my favorite is when you see them get out of the car and start running. And there's always this one cop. Have you ever seen Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles? When the Terminator is doing that like straight fingered run where he's running like 60 miles an hour.
What Brittany's doing. Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's also the Baywatch run.
You weren't the runner?
Oh no.
You know that
Look at me, Andy. Come on.
Yeah, there you go. Now, Kristen, it's interesting you brought that up. I have never seen an episode of Baywatch.
I haven't either.
Is it good?
No, it was never good, but it was so campy. I mean, even if you just watch a clip on YouTube, the certain beach that the lifeguards watch, it's the most dangerous beach you've ever been to. And it's always like super packed. You're like, why would you go there if you're getting eaten by a shark and drowning all on the same day, like every single day? But it was a great excuse to put a lot of hot women and guys with like rock solid bodies in tiny bathing suits. And they custom built each swimsuit to each lady. So it had like, if you were someone with long legs, your one piece is going to go up to here. If you were Pamela Anderson with very big boobs, it's going to cut down to here. So they were really smart with how they marketed that show.
Yeah, but you didn't have to mention all four of the guys on the show with the rock hard bodies. You didn't have to bring us up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, leave our swimsuits alone.
I need one of those one-piece suits like they used to wear in the 30s or something. The guys came all the way up to here, all the way down to your knee.
You know what? Just use the excuse. It's better not to be out in the sun anyway. So just be like, it's sun protection.
Yes, that is true. I always wear a rash guard because I burn so easily.
I would say that Baywatch is the most dangerous beach, and then the Murder, She Wrote town is the most deadly town because it was supposed to be a small town, and like once a week, at least one person died. Murder.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Same with if you watch Days of Our Lives, Salem, everyone dies, but they're supernatural, so you always come back.
Nice.
If you're gonna say that, you have to say it like Fred Sanford.
Okay.
Which one?
I think you're the only one that knows how.
Knows exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, you don't know what's Fred Sanford, how he handled that? Every time his son Lamont came home, he'd go, "What are you watching, Pop?" He'd go, "Days of Our Lives." I just love that.
Kristen, obviously you being out in LA, we talked about it earlier. Like two questions. One, should we be canceling Diddy, or how much trouble is Diddy going to be getting in with the whole Cassie ordeal that's going on? And then two, is The Rock going to be running for president?
Okay, I'll start with Diddy because there is an official criminal investigation going on in New York.
So what did he do?
That has been confirmed by TMZ. They have not said if it is related to Cassie's allegations in the civil suit, but I will say that several other women have come forward. His alleged history of domestic violence is something that has been talked about behind the scenes in the music industry. A lot of people, Aubrey O'Day came forward. She worked with him on making the band, and she said, "I'm glad this is finally coming to light. I've talked about it for years. No one's believed me because Aubrey O'Day is an outlandish personality." And until other people come forward, you realize that she's been speaking the truth the whole time, most likely. So we will see what happens, but he is in a lot of trouble. And I read the 35-page document.
Jesus.
And it is very specific. I would say anyone who goes to take a look at it, it's a major trigger warning for anyone who's been a victim of domestic violence or abuse because it is so detailed. It's not just something you randomly make up as a creative writing exercise. Let's just put it that way.
Then I get to be Tevin now and go, who the hell is that?
Diddy, you also
Puff
known
Daddy?
as AKA Puff Daddy,
Also
aka
known as
Sean
Sean
Combs, aka
Oh, Sean Combs. I know who that is. but I
Yeah,
don't see
so
it.
one of his artists that he was supposed to be mentoring and kind of signing to his label, Cassie, who was an R&B artist, and she was, I don't know how old he
She
was.
was
at the time.
19 when this began.
And she essentially came out recently and said that he had would drug her and rape her and all of this. And
Also traffic her. He was trafficking her to other men. And it seems that this specific trafficking,
don't put that out there. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
the alleged trafficking seems to be a well-known
Right into that one.
secret about Diddy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I just don't understand these. Now, doesn't Sean Combs have hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
And none of
power
it was
thing.
deserved.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, was a good producer, but he's not known for his ability
Oh,
to
he's not?
rap or sing.
Well, his whole he made his debut basically just poorly rapping over other people's songs.
Yeah, his most famous
really?
song I would say is the one he did with when Notorious B.I.G. died.
With the national
I'll
anthem?
be watching you, or
I'll be
Yeah.
watching
Every step I
Oh.
take, that one. So
I remember my friend playing this, and I was like, "So wait, he didn't write the song?
No,
he's
sang
just talking while the song plays." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, this doesn't seem fair.
At the last VMAs, that's the MTV Video Music Awards, they gave two iconic, for their length of their career awards. They gave one to Puffy or P Diddy, whoever you want to call him, and one to Shakira.
Diddy.
And so Shakira puts on this insane performance. She's using every muscle in her body, going from thing to thing, running around at one point, like dancing with knives. And then it's Puff Daddy's P. Diddy's turn to go out there and essentially walk around and lazily talk in a microphone. And I just go, this is the lowest bar for a human ever.
Yeah, he was the original mumble rapper for sure.
It's hard to see that you're not around. I know you're in heaven looking down.
Nailed it.
He was just known for throwing his famous white parties in the Hamptons. It's
Famous
just
what?
Yeah, I do that, and I
The
get called a
all-white
racist, but P. Diddy can.
you wear all white.
you wear all white.
Oh, I thought you only
that
invited
kind
honky.
No, it's white linen parties. You've never been to a white party.
Tom,
I don't go to parties, believe me.
They're very
You
very.
don't want me at your party.
I have a
Kristen-
toddler. I'd show up in a white linen mixed with ketchup party.
I was gonna say, Kristen, we live in Minnesota. We're not walking around wearing white here. It's
No.
just not happening.
The nice slush accent to.
I went to one in San Miguel de Allende. It was really fun.
Same.
Yeah, I don't even know where that.
What
I
did
don't
you
even know.
just say?
Mexico, Central Mexico.
The white party, huh?
Yeah. But
There
then
you go.
also Dwayne The Rock Johnson, people are now recirculating that he wants to run for, not that he wants to, but it's rumored that he's thinking about it. Do you have any inside scoop?
I do actually. I wrote an article on this. So, he has admitted that he has been approached by both parties to run for office, and they approached him in 2021, right around there, when he just sort of talked about politics and that he had an interest in it, not necessarily about running. And he just realized, he said, "My girls are too young. I really screwed it up with my oldest daughter by not being around enough. I don't feel like now is the right time for me to run because I really want to be there for my family." However, he was just on Joe Rogan the other day, and he made some very specific comments. First of all, saying that, he has friends who support Trump and he's got friends who support Joe Biden. And then Joe Rogan's like, "Well, do they really support Biden?" He's like, "Well, no, they support the party." So it's kind of interesting because he did endorse Joe Biden in 2020. And this is what sort of opens the window of could he consider a third party run if someone really said "Hey, this is a good idea"? Because nobody likes Trump. Nobody likes Joe Biden. Who's going to step up and be that third party? Who's going to be the Ross Perot to kind of make this an interesting race? And it's not going to be RFK Jr. Not going to happen. He's running as an independent. Nobody cares. But if The Rock runs, people pay attention.
No, they would definitely pay attention.
I
There's no
still think
question.
he's toying with it, even though he says like he's bowing out for family reasons. I think it's still bouncing around in his head.
Yeah, I don't know. Biden was who the hell he was pumping somebody up as being a great candidate for president. Was
Gavin Newsom, which is, of course, we all know that if for some reason Joe Biden cannot run, Gavin Newsom is the heir apparent. It is not Kamala Harris, which
Really?
probably stinks for her because she's also California. But it's why Gavin Newsom is running billboards in Florida.
Oh, is he really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's running against DeSantis?
It's DeSantis because they're running. They're bantering about the whole political theater Disney situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because we have Disneyland, they have Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
But it's all political theater, of course. But he is setting the stage. If it's not in 2024, it's for 2028.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. I don't know. Hey, apparently, if Donald Trump and Joe Biden can be president, anybody can be president. So there you go.
We got to remember,
London
Kristen
can
was
be
around
president.
when Jesse was elected governor.
That's right. She worked for Jesse.
Yes, she did. So we have her to blame.
Yeah. I've got like literally anybody. I'm like, my cat would do a better job though. of running the country.
I don't like the way that London falls on tax reform. So get her out of
She
here.
would be like naps every day. I mean, she would be like snack time as often as possible.
Listen, the last thing we need is the government stalling more for cat naps,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Lay it
For a
out.
10-hour cat nap.
All right.
Trump just left. I don't know why.
Yeah, is there anything else going on in your world that we need to be aware of?
Well, just so you guys know, a lot of the shows that ABC finally kind of announced when they're coming back with their mid-season replacements. We already have CBS, and they're doing it right after the Super Bowl. ABC is a little bit later. It's going to be mid-February to early March for a lot of their shows. I mean, Grey's Anatomy is not coming back until March. So you can just kind of get a feel for how disruptive these strikes actually were and how long production's going to take to get back up and rolling. Even 911 with Rob Lowe, which is the Reno one, isn't it? Not the Reno one. The
Vegas?
Which one?
Is it Vegas?
It's not Vegas. Hold on. It's the Lone Star.
Okay,
911
yeah.
Lone Star. It's like,
That
wait
was
a
the
minute.
number one drama. How
That's
wild
not
is
coming
that?
back until next TV season, until fall 2024. They can't get it up and running in time because Rob Lowe has Unstable with his son on Netflix in first position, and they're filming season 2. So it's crazy to see how all of these actors are juggling it. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
And I know what was it, earlier this week, you were saying that now that everything's kind of getting back into the swing, you have a ton of press interviews and stuff that you're doing. Who's the most interesting person you've talked to recently that surprised you or that is interesting enough to tell us?
Oh, I love it. I actually, and I don't know, I know that like Officer Dave, the guys aren't watching this show, but I interviewed Brian Bird, and he is the showrunner for When Calls the Heart on Hallmark Channel, which is going into its 11th season. This show is the people are so passionate about it. They literally like eat, breathe, sleep this show. Which is coming back on Hallmark for season 11 sometime in 2024. But he was just really talking about how they want to expand the universe. And we were talking a little bit about Yellowstone and what Taylor Sheridan has done with Paramount Plus. And that's kind of the idea of what they want to do with the Hallmark version of this show. And I think it's kind of interesting only because it's the type of show that leans into the creator used to do Touched by an Angel. He works with Michael Landon Jr., who obviously his dad worked on Little House on the Prairie. So there's kind of this like resurgence of like just feel good, no politics type of shows. And I was kind of fascinated to see what he has in store for the Hardys, as they call themselves. They're like the Swifties, but they're the Hardys for Hallmark.
There you have it, ladies. Another brilliant report, I thought.
Thank you.
All right, go run for president.
Go run for president. I'm going to stay in my closet. I've got another interview coming up in a moment.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Chris and Bert, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a break. Be right back. Very special guest. Josh Arnold's in studio, but a very special guest on the phone right after this, too.
This is the Tom Barnard Show.
Recently, Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC was contacted by a company that does on-site sales. Jim was confused.
Wait, they don't know anything about us, our staff, our reputation, most importantly, our customers.
Hey, pal, no problem. We do them all over the country. You know, get the manager off the roof sale, inflatable gorilla sale, and our favorite, the 13-hour sale with a giant clock that goes to 13. Urgency, baby. We bring our crew because, well, your people are, let's just say, a little laid back.
And the pricing?
Nothing special, sport.
But Jim thought, we price competitively every day. Our prices are special. We definitely don't need these guys. But sale does convey some urgency, so we made a bold decision for his fine dealerships.
Announcing the Valley Buick GMC 365-day sale. And we can even extend it a couple years or so.
I got the air dancer guy, scratch-offs, plastic keys, bubble machine.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Hurry.
You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, legal issues, banking, and more. The same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust, who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you, Josh Arnold. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation, 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That is 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did. And tell him his guy, Tom, sent you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
In a world that's racing a mile a minute, a split-second distraction can change everything. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. Every day we see too many people, heads buried in their phones, unaware of the dangers they're in. Texting and driving isn't just reckless, it's playing Russian roulette with your life and the lives of others. In just 4 seconds of distraction, you've driven the length of a football field. Is there any text message that's worth your life, that's worth the lives of others? I've been fighting for the rights of the injured for over 30 years, but I'd rather you never meet me in a courtroom. So hear me now, stop texting and driving. Pay attention. Value your lives and the lives around you. And if you won't, know this, at Bradshaw & Bryant, we're relentless. We won't back down. We bring justice to those that need it.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
With Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Brittany's here. Josh Arnold's in studio. We got Tevin. We got Officer Dave. We got Andy. And we got, see, I've never called you meat sauce. What, do I have to call you meat sauce?
You call me whatever you want. I think you've only called me Paulie. I think you and my mom are the only people left who call me Paulie. And I appreciate it.
I've been calling you Paulie since you were 16 years old.
You are correct, sir. Yes, Paulie the whole time. I think you only call me that.
I do. That's Paulie. I mean, meat sauce is good. And somebody told me they called you that because you ate some spaghetti sauce. So you were meat sauce from that point on.
Yeah, I've been meat sauce since I was, I think, 2006. So I'm a 41-year-old named Meat Sauce. I don't think Paul Lambert would have made it in the radio business with that boring.
Really too boring?
I think it's way too boring. Paul Lambert's boring. Meat Sauce has an edge to him. He's kind of like Jaws. You don't know where he goes or what he does.
Paul Lambert sounds like you could be president of the United States, though.
Okay, somebody took the name Meatloaf, so now he has to be Meatloaf.
You're going to have to turn your mic down toward you, and then it'll...
If he even can.
Well, I think that way is the way you can do it. There you go.
There we go.
Perfect. Look at Kevin. Tevin's jumping all over it.
Yeah, I'm a professional.
Yeah. Oh, Joe, here we go.
I'm no meat sauce, but...
Yeah, there you go.
I was just going to say Meatloaf was taken. That's why it's meat sauce.
I like it.
I've been called Meatloaf. I've gotten emails from people that are like, are you Meatloaf? Or a lot of the times when I meet fans' wives or something, they're like, are you the Meatloaf guy? I'm like, no, I think he passed away.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
Who gave you that name?
Superstar Mike Morris
I
gave it to me.
I thought so. I was listening to the fan when he gave the. I love Mike Morris, man. I think
you
he's.
really?
Oh yeah.
He tried to give Super Mike or Super Star Mike Morris. He tried to give me the name Bombshell, and it just didn't stick. And I was very thankful for that. It was a very odd. He was. You know how like somebody says a neat like a nickname and you just hope there's nobody else in the room to hear it. Like,
Why is it that I have a different life than all the rest of people? Oh, I like this guy. I like this guy. He did this. He did this. Took me for about $7,000 once. Why? Every time. Every time. It's unbelievable.
Because you have the $7,000 to get taken from you, whereas he could have taken me for about $7.
Yeah, I was gonna lift weights with him. I said, what the hell, I can pay him. Gave me one lesson, never saw him again. I haven't talked to him since then either.
Yeah.
So there's your guy.
Yeah.
So and guess what? Well, it's not like I see him every day.
No, that's true.
No. And Sauce, is it true that he gave you that nickname because you were in, I don't know if it was the Vikings press box or Wolves press box, but you were eating all of the free spaghetti?
No, so the true story is when I was an intern at the Fan, I would go over to a restaurant off 394 that's no longer there called Majors. And my whole thing was, one of my jobs is to order all the food for the Vikings games, and then I would have to bring it back to the studio. And one of the guys ordered a sandwich, and on the top of the sandwich, it had a container that looks like something you'd put like bait in, and it just said meat sauce on top of it. So I brought it all into the studio to give it to him, and I said to the guy, I said, "Here's your sandwich, here's your meat sauce." And he said, "I didn't order that." Well, Morris kind of chuckled at it, and I'm a radio guy for a reason. I thought, well, if Morris laughs at me, then maybe he'll let me be on the morning show with him.
Yeah, there
so
you
I
go.
would come back like every 15 minutes, and I'd be like, "Does anybody need anything?" And they'd be like, "What? No." And then behind my back, I would have the meat sauce. I'd be like, "Does anybody want any meat sauce?" Like 3 months later, I saw him in the hallway, and he's like, "You're now meat sauce." I'm like, "Okay, that's my name," and that's been the way since like 06.
That's how it should be. And again, I went with Paulie when you were 16 years old. So 25 years ago, I gave you the right name, Paulie.
Yeah, Paulie is the correct name. That's what my mom and Tom call me, and that's it. So, yeah, I don't care if you call me Paulie. My own dad calls me meat sauce.
Does he? Yeah, that's right. We
Oh,
went
that's-
to dinner. We were calling you meat sauce the whole time. Matter of fact, I just talked about that dinner you and Mark Rosen and Studwell and I had with your father.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
It was.
wonderful time.
It was a great time, no question about it. So what else you got cooking, Pally?
Well, you and I've talked about this. You don't take naps. I don't know how you don't. I'm going to probably take a nap here in the next half hour, and then probably, I don't know, hang out, smoke a Thai stick or two, and then go to bed.
What a life you
I was
got.
just gonna say, holy buckets.
Sounds like a great way to spend the rest of your day. Also, Sauce, I just wanted to say,
it's Friday.
yeah. I also, because I'm an avid listener to your show on KFan when I'm driving in the morning, and I just want to say that I will never forgive Chris Hockey for screwing you over in the initials game when he called you out for saying Fran
Hockey's
Tarkington.
my guy, man. I love hockey. I joke about it now because, like, Corey would have let like anyone else say Fran Tarkington, but if I say it, they like to get on top of me. Yeah, it was a fun moment. It's what makes the show so good.
All right, go hit the sack. What time do you get up?
4:10.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's the big difference. And I still never took, because I used to get up at about the same time, actually, for a long time, I got up at 3:15, which is a real thrill. And by the way, you will never, ever get over that. Now that you've been getting up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever the hell time, you're never, ever going to get over that. It'll be in your head for the rest of your life.
No, it's like you once told me, you just get tired of being tired. So here we are at 41. So, yeah. So a nap is in place for me today.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get together and have a little dinner again. What he's saying. Say hi to Rosie for me.
I will. You're the absolute best, Tom.
No, you, Pally. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Paul Lambert, not meat sauce. Paul Lambert.
Paul Lambert.
And he really does, because I'll listen to KFan on my drive in, and every once in a while, if they mention
all the people at KS95 and My Talk are real happy to hear that.
they can whatever.
They're paying the bills.
Well, that's fine. You can listen to whatever you want. But anyway, I was gonna say he loves you because anytime like a name of Barnard gets brought up, he always goes, "Oh, Tommy," under his breath. And he loves it. He brings
Paulie
it up all the time.
Paulie and I have been best friends for 25 years.
Yeah.
He's just a great guy. He's a really, really nice man.
Yeah, and I'll say I only listen to the fan when the commercials are running on Score North.
Story.
Then I'll listen.
I'll get called into Jimmy Hubbard's office today because of you.
Fire Tevin.
I'd have to get rid of Tevin. There's no question about it. But
he's just checking out the competition.
Exactly.
That's it.
You got to stay current.
So, Josh, one of the things we're gonna take a break in a couple of minutes, then we're gonna come back and do the family show. But I keep hearing that interest rates are going to get better.
They are better.
They already are better, but
the longer term interest rates are better. They've come down significantly in the last 2 weeks. I mean, you have the two-year rate is under 5%. You have the 10-year rate, which a lot of people watch, has gone from 5% to 4.4% in the last week and a half. At some point, the Federal Reserve, which maneuvers short-term rates, is going to go complete on pause and then probably start cutting rates on the belief that the economy is a little bit weaker and inflation is under control. But inflation still has not hit their 2% target. So until inflation hits their 2% target, short-term interest rates are going to be on the higher side.
Not short-term being what?
Short-term in anything under a year. Are going to be on the higher side. And then longer-term rates, which the market sets, will fluctuate, but they've been fluctuating more on the downside. Now, as interest rates come down, bond values go up a little bit. So that has been a nice boost for the bond market. With interest rates down, bond prices have been moving up. Now, I am not a bond buyer, nor am I a bond owner, nor do I recommend investing in bonds to any of my clients. If you're looking for complete safety, go to cash and earn money market interest, because that's always been part of my asset allocation that I've used for clients, of keeping up to 30% in cash and the balance invested in stocks. I like stocks particularly that are internet related, leisure related, we'll say China related, and real asset related, such as it's backed by real estate. But not a bond buyer. But right now, the stock market has been, we'll say, married to the 10-year and 2-year Treasury rate. So as they move up or down, that has had an effect on the stock market, as well as what Fed governors have been saying. If I look and say, okay, the Fed has been trying to bring down inflation, and there's been some, we'll say, collateral damage to that, in that right now, judging from earnings that have been coming out, this week has been very heavy in the retail arena. The retailers have, and that's not across the board, we'll just call a few select retailers, have said, consumers seem to be cutting back on certain types of consumption. Walmart said, well, there's been a little bit of cutbacks that we have seen recently, although Walmart had mixed results when they reported. Target reported their earnings were better because shrinkage was a lot lower, and they had less around in inventory, but they noticed, and they're not looking for a great Christmas season. On the other hand, Gap stores, big business, and they're projecting stuff higher. So they've had a little change going on. Macy's did better than expected, but I'm not running out to Macy's.
Yeah.
TJ Maxx, which has TJ Maxx and Marshall's, very good quarter. So, and then Ross Stores, similar type of merchandiser to TJ Maxx, also did very well. So you've just seen a change in where people are spending money. So that's just on, we'll call it straight up retail spending. But if I look at where people are actually spending some money in, we'll call it travel and leisure, then you'd say, oh, well, the economy is still pretty good in that area. People still want experiences. They may not be going and getting new underwear, but they're traveling. They're going to, oh, don't need new underwear, but we're going to go to Las Vegas this weekend to see the Formula One races. And while we're in Las Vegas, we're going to stay at Caesar's Palace or Wynn Resorts or one of the MGM properties, and we're going to spend money on food, drink. We'll gamble a little bit. We'll watch the Formula One race. And how do we pick this place? Well, we were either on bookings.com, also known as Priceline, or Expedia. So money is being spent that way. Oh, we don't want to stay at a hotel?
Yeah.
We'll check out the website of Vrbo or Airbnb and book that way. So people are spending money on experiences, not necessarily spending money on underwear.
We shall take a break. Be right back in about 5 minutes. So think about this. I think the top rate I heard in the past year for larger loans was like over 9%. Was that correct?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, you don't pay attention to that kind of thing?
No, I'm not taking any longer term loans. If I am taking out a loan, I'd look at the mortgage rates.
Yeah.
And mortgage demand has finally kicked back up as mortgages have come below 8%.
So they're below 8 now. But
Correct.
is that what 7.7, something like that?
Yeah, but they had gone up a little above 8%, which slowed down mortgage demand. Now it's coming down, and that's a boost for housing, and there's tremendous demand for housing.
I like it. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Kick off the family with Josh Arnold.
This is Bob Sansevier, and I want to tell you about Dave Bialke from Bialke Law. Dave represented my wife, Mary, when she had a significant workplace injury. She was very happy with the job Dave did. If you have a work-related injury and have Dave represent you, I'm betting you'll be happy too. Dave is a down-to-earth guy. He grew up in northern Minnesota, rides a Harley, and worked various jobs doing concrete, electrical, plumbing, roofing, and carpentry work. Dave works for people with work-related injuries. If you work construction, or anywhere for that matter, and you're hurt or even just hurting, you should talk to Dave. Let's face it, our bodies wear out. If your body is worn out from work, if your knees or back or shoulders hurt from things you do at work, do what Mary did. Call Dave and talk to him about it at Bialke Law to set up a free initial consultation. The number to call is 763-571-2410. That's 763-571-2410. Or visit bialkelaw.com. That's BIALKE law.com.
Hello, I'm Brad Huckle, President and Chief Lending Officer at North American Banking Company.
And I'm Michael Bilski, CEO at North American Banking Company.
As a locally owned and operated community bank, we work with many multi-generational businesses.
Take Personal Care Dentistry of Roseville, for example. Dr. Walter Hunt, also known as Painless to me, has been a longtime customer of the bank since we opened the bank in 1998.
When his son Kyle was ready to join the practice, they wanted to expand quickly.
With their additional space and equipment, they now are able to see more patients each day while providing the same level of care and service.
Okay, guys, I'll take it from here. If you run a family business or any kind of business for that matter, you should be banking with Brad and Mike over at North American Banking Company. Every time I deal with them or their team, I know I'm working with experienced professional bankers. So why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Recently, Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC was contacted by a company that does on-site sales. Jim was confused.
Wait, they don't know anything about us, our staff, our reputation, most importantly, our customers.
Hey, pal, no problem. We do them all over the country. You know, get the manager off the roof sale, inflatable gorilla sale, and our favorite, the 13-hour sale with a giant clock that goes to 13. Urgency, baby. We bring our crew because, well, your people are, let's just say, a little laid back.
And the pricing?
Nothing special, sport.
But Jim thought we price competitively every day. Our prices are special. We definitely don't need these guys. But sale does convey some urgency, so we made a bold decision for his fine dealerships.
Announcing the Valley Buick GMC 365-day sale. And we can even extend it a couple years or so.
I got the air dancer guy, scratch-offs, plastic keys, bubble machine 5.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Hurry.
Tom here, and I just read a success story from MN Fat Loss client Elizabeth, who just completed the program. Elizabeth writes, I'm a 54-year-old woman who has struggled with losing weight. I had almost constant heartburn, trouble sleeping, brain fog. I tried counting calories, eating bars and shakes, and several other programs in which I would lose 5 to 10 pounds after months of struggling. After 60 days of the MN Fat Loss program, I was down 25 pounds. MN Fat Loss had really empowered me to believe that I can control my eating and my weight without having to sacrifice foods that I like. If you're thinking about finally committing to improving your health, this is the time to start. You won't regret your investment in yourself. It's so easy to see if MN Fat Loss is a good fit for you. They offer a free phone consultation to learn about the program. They also have virtual options to help you if you live far away, which I think is a brilliant idea. To schedule that free phone consultation, go to mnfatloss.com. The only thing you have to lose is that unwanted weight. That's www.mnfatloss.com. I cannot wait to hear about your success story. And please let them know that Tom sent you. Disgusting. Oh, that's good about it. Anyway, welcome to the family with
7th Pittman,
Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk,
Officer Dave,
and Andy Barnard.
You got them all going. No question about it. So what's the latest? We were just talking about mortgage rates and all the rest of it.
Mortgage rates are coming down. People are wanting to buy houses. Mortgage demand is starting to move up. It is my belief that sometime in the next, probably the next 2 years, that mortgage interest rates will be back below 6%. If I can make a prediction.
No, wait a minute. Run that by me again.
Sometime within the next 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Mortgage interest rates will be down at least 2% from where they are today.
And in the grand scheme of things, is that everybody's going to be happy because they're down 2%, or is it like when they raise gas prices $2, then bring it down $1 and go, look at, we lowered gas prices?
No, people are going to be very, very happy.
Okay.
Because if you buy a house today, and you're getting an 8, close to an 8%, 7.5%, 8% mortgage today, and 2 years from now, as interest rates start coming down, look at this. I've got a 6% mortgage today. I will refinance my house, or I can buy a different house.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should say, with it going down, if it goes down to the 2%, like you're saying, is that still going to be higher than?
Oh, it'll be higher
what
than
it was.
It'll be higher than the interest rate that Tom got on his house, or I got on my house a lot of years ago, or other people got that. But as interest rates come down, that should start freeing up more inventory on the we'll say used house market or existing house market, as opposed to the new house market. But demand for houses right now is still moving up. There are a lot of people, say, in your age group and Andy's age group, that haven't bought a house or have had a smaller house. Now they're having larger families. They need a bigger house.
Yep.
And there could also be people in my age group that say, geez, we have our older house, but our grandkids live elsewhere. We're going to buy a bigger house just so when the grandkids come, they have a place to stay.
Yeah.
So that could be a boost for the housing market, or continued strength in the housing market going forward. If I were to translate that into the stock market and look at some of the new home builders that exist, whether it's a Toll Brothers, a D.H. Horton, or others that during this time period, at least their stock prices have held in, and they have been, we'll say, considered leaders.
Okay.
I have to do a little caveat. Not everything that I talk about on this program is going to be suitable for you.
Yep.
Please make sure that you contact your financial advisor, someone like me, before you make any investment decisions. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Markets are always changing. Now we can go back and talk about some specific companies. So we had have to throw the little disclaimer.
Oh
there.
yeah, no, you're not just hand you $20 and you turn it into 2,000 overnight. No,
it'll be a few nights.
Yeah.
It's a few nights with that. But I know Tom had asked me the other day about the economy, that he's been talking to a lot of people that seem to feel that the economy is going to go in the tank, or
a lot of
things
people
are very, very bad. And I think I've mentioned before on this program, my shopping center parking lot indicator as a measure of the strength of the economy. The people are still out spending money. Now, it might not be people going to Southdale. Maybe they're going to a different mall or a different store.
Mm-hmm.
I go to a lot to eat at the Galleria, and when I go there, just about every day other than Monday, good luck finding a parking spot.
Yeah, no, that area is a disaster.
Those are higher, maybe higher end stores, a lot of smaller specialty stores, as opposed to going, across the street to Southdale, which does not look, or it's most of Southdale does not have heavy parking as it once did. Maybe the side that now has Lifetime Fitness has got a little heavier parking than outside of Macy's.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you were going to go for a walk in a mall and didn't want to run into too many people, Southdale might be the place to go, unless you're going to the Apple Store. And the Apple Store is busy almost all the time. But it's just a little different where people are spending money. I don't believe that the economy is going to fall off the cliff. I am not of the belief that our currency is going to collapse. So I'm very positive, longer term and even shorter term, on the strength of the U.S. economy. You still have the fact that more people want to come to the United States than want to leave the United States. You can still look, as bad as some people might think. Unemployment here in the United States is still on the low side. Now, I could argue also that the Federal Reserve has kept interest rates too high in their fight for inflation and their Fed's efforts to slow things down. I could argue that the Fed seems to want higher unemployment because of their belief that if there's higher unemployment, that will negate some of the wage inflation, because they want stable prices. Well, you can have stable prices, but they're now going to be at a higher level than they once were. But wage inflation, okay. Now you've got wage inflation. Yes, costs are going up. Companies have been doing better, so wages would naturally go up. Yes, there's a demand for people to work because unemployment is low. By the same token, the jobs participation rate to me is still on the low side. It's only 63%. It means a lot of people are not participating in the labor force that could be participating in the labor force. But again, I'm thinking, from what I see, a lot of positive to the stock market, or excuse me, not well. There are positives to the stock market, but a lot of positives to the U.S. economy, and I would not count the U.S. economy out.
See, that's great to hear, because a lot of people are terrified. There's no doubt about that. They're just afraid everything's coming apart at this. Well, was it 2008? Things didn't do too well, and
if you go to 2008, it was only towards the end of 2008 when the mortgage market, blew up, and that was right before an election.
It was absolutely that. I think was the scary part for these people.
Mhm.
It's like it's right before an election again,
and who's going to come on? But in 2008, it was only a few months before the election took place.
Yes,
when
right,
everything
exactly.
blew up, it was maybe 6 weeks before the election.
And what caused that? Why? I mean, did it have to do with the election? Was it
no,
somewhat
it had to do with a
intentional?
lot of stupidity on the part of some major brokerage firms that had been building for several years.
Yeah, really.
I'll say
good.
major brokerage firms, major banks that decided, and this always hurts, leverage in the financial world. When you borrow a lot of money to buy stuff to enhance, in that case, it was, we want to enhance our yields, so we're going to lever up, 5, 6, 7 times on mortgage securities. And when the value of those, it's one thing when the value of the securities stays the same or goes up a little bit with interest rates falling down, bond prices or mortgage prices can go up. And if you borrow money, you're enhancing your return or from the yield. And during that period of time, if you remember, they were lending anybody that could breathe money
that's true.
to put down on a house, whether or not you could continue paying for it. There are all kinds of stories out there that were bartenders with one job that were able to, bartender making, $30,000 a year, with mortgage, owning 4 or 5 properties, and barely able to pay the mortgages because some of those properties were vacant, because they all thought, we can buy these properties and rent them out to somebody, but they weren't being rented.
Do you think the fact that it was very obvious that it was George W. Bush leaving and Barack Obama coming in, correct?
Well, he came in, but this all started, before the election. This started
right, but it was pretty obvious
in 2000. Most of it was starting in kind of peaked in 2006.
Oh yeah,
and then in 2007, you started seeing a lot of cracks in the we'll call collateralized mortgage bond market.
Yeah,
is where the cracks started occurring. The first time I saw something was when this one hedge fund went to liquidate about 300 million of these CMOs, collateralized mortgage obligations, on the market. At the same time, more were being issued, and this fund had to take a haircut on the price of those bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this is a little bit of a problem. So that was in March of 2007. And I said, this is a problem waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And then a month later, you had the bond prices going down, yields going up in the mortgage market. And then you started hearing about some of the banks calling, making margin calls. And then it was, let's see, was it Merrill Lynch? I think Merrill Lynch made a margin call on some bonds in a pension plan that Bear Stearns operated with those. And it's like, oh, this is not going to be pretty. And at the time I thought, well, I don't have any relation or any investments in the collateralized mortgage obligation. I had no investments in housing related companies. I'm not an investor in bank stocks. Okay, I am going to be insulated from all these problems. Well, and you started having problems. First it was with Bear Stearns. Then there was some problems, little problems with Merrill Lynch. Then there was Lehman Brothers. And that kind of led into, so that was all through 2007. And then early in 2008, Bear Stearns was going out of business, and JP Morgan ended up buying Bear Stearns.
Right, yeah,
and they got government guarantees on those mortgage bonds. And then as the year progressed, you now had some other issues. And in the middle of September of 2008, Lehman Brothers goes out of business, and Merrill Lynch gets bought by Bank of America, backed by the government. And then the very next day, the stock market goes down, and there's a big problem. Ooh, all these banks have some issues. And Secretary of the Treasury and at the time, and Ben Bernanke was running the Federal Reserve, go before Congress and say, well, if we could get $75 billion from you guys real quick, we can solve this problems with all the banks.
Yeah, 75 billion.
And then you're running for office, and you're a congressperson, and you're running for office. Oh, well, if they're going to get $75 billion to bail out these banks and everybody else, we better show that we can deliver some more money to our constituency, and we won't vote on a bailout bill unless we can get bike paths for northern Minnesota.
Oh my God, I remember that.
So that kind of happened. George Bush was he was kind of out. He kind of vacated the seat.
Yeah, he did kind of. He
vacated his, or we call abdicated the throne, starting in May.
Yep.
Because of all these problems.
He did.
John McCain did not have anything credible to solve the problem, and Barack Obama got elected, and we started then having a lot of regulation. I mean, the banks did get bailed out, and then a few other companies got bailed out, including the auto companies.
Yeah.
And we had some more regulation, and just after that, stock market went down until about March of 2009, which was the bottom, and things started getting a little better in the stock market.
Why did it wipe out the economy so badly in just a 5-month stretch?
Well, the stock market got wiped out because the fear was what's going to happen to the economy, and how are all the banks going to have all these problems? How many banks have all these bonds, and the value of the bonds went down? You know, how many banks are holding all these mortgage bonds? Are they going to have to? What else are they going to have to sell to meet the obligations? And the new regulations came out and said, hey, banks have got to shore up their capital base. They got to go out and raise a lot of money.
Right.
Where's the money going to come from?
When was Bernie Madoff's, I guess, people's recognition of him, when did that peak?
Well, that all happened in 2008.
I thought so.
That's
why I asked you that question.
When everything blew up after all the big investment banks, all the big banks that were deemed too big to fail.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys got bailed out, and when the stock market went down, and Bernie Madoff and other people like him,
Tom Petters.
Oh, his was another story altogether.
But it was kind of at the same time.
Tom Petters, there was nothing. There was no there to begin with.
But that was kind of around 2008.
It was also kind of around 2008. But
that was a rough period.
But that was all took place between September 2008 and January of 2009.
That was tough. I remember. Well, I'll give you an example. I had a friend that lost about $17 million in the stock market that very time. And I walked into the drugstore one day, and his wife was in there, and she had some kind of Cosequin or some damn thing, and she was trying to talk him down on the price. This is a woman that had just lost $17 million, and she couldn't afford to buy her Cosequin.
Well, here's now, did somebody lose 17 million because the value of their stock went down, or did they sell out at the bottom?
Well, there you go. That's
because there are an awful lot of people. Well, if when things go down, the tendency is got to sell because it's all going to go to zero. Well,
yeah.
Guess what? Things come down to a point, and then they go back.
Right.
They go back up, and you only lose money when you panic.
And that was only a 5-month period from what you said.
Yeah, it was a short period of time. It was a tough period of time. And one of the things that the value of my clients' portfolios go down during that period of time. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm invested in the exact same things as my clients are, yes, it was difficult to watch things go down. However, keeping up to 30% of my portfolio in cash when things are going down, guess who's got money to buy stuff?
Yeah.
I've got money to buy stuff.
Right.
Or you start looking, as I said earlier, when things were going down, I thought, geez, I'm insulated from all the problems in the housing market or the house bond market because I don't have anything that's related to that. But when there's a margin call for all the people that have borrowed money to enhance their yields, the good stuff gets sold off to meet those margin calls, and the good stuff goes down, which allows, if you have cash during those period of time, you can buy some pretty good companies on the cheap. That's true then, it's true today.
But we're not going to go through anything like that again, it doesn't seem.
In what period of time?
Well,
you can always have something like that happen. I mean, I've found that most times when you have some significant sell-offs, a lot is caused by some type of government policy and or regulation on one hand. On the other, it's caused by, we'll say, banks. So that could be investment banks, commercial banks going overboard on a particular type of investment. And when I say going overboard, they try to leverage up to take advantage of a situation. So leverage is okay. Extreme leverage, not good, because it might work on the way up in your favor, but on the way down,
a long, hard fall.
It's very, very difficult to recover from.
But things are looking, to me now, and I don't have the knowledge you have, but they look much better than they did 6 months ago.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, I was, well, somebody said people have said to me through the years, you always walk around with a smile on your face. So walking around with a frown is going to get me anything better.
Yeah,
Listen, there's always there's a commercial for one program on television, Jim Cramer's Mad Money show.
Oh yeah,
and he's right on this. There's always a bull market somewhere, and it's my job to find it. There's a bull market in something somewhere. Whether it's smart to invest in some of those is another story. But yeah, so it's just trying to find, or I try to find, where there's some opportunity in companies to me that make some sense, or an economy that makes some sense. So there's places that it might make some sense that I want nothing to do with it.
Where does the mortgage rate need to get to? Because you said it's going to probably drop down maybe as low as what in the.
Well, I think if the
area?
mortgage rates are right now just a little under 8%, you're going to see mortgage rates, I believe, in the next 2 years somewhere in the 6% area.
Well, so that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big boost,
and that will really help the economy, I would assume.
Yeah, it would help. Anything related to housing is going to help the economy.
Yeah, exactly.
If you need a house and you don't have one, somebody's got to build that house. And I think if somebody has to build that house, it's not going to be Officer Dave is going to be building that house by himself.
You know,
he might look like he could build that
the
house.
funny thing is I used to build houses.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So I could.
They were dog houses.
No, they were the multi-million-dollar and around Lake Minnetonka and the big ones.
Yeah, I mean that's. But people are going to need a house, and if you need a house, look at all the stuff that goes into the house and how that filters through into the economy.
So because I think it's your fault, because ever since you've been coming on talking about the economy and money and all that stuff on this show, people ask me all these questions. And I'm like, I don't know.
Just direct them right to me. 952-925-5608. I'm not afraid to promote myself.
Need Fancy Ray back in here to promote you.
Yeah, Fancy Ray.
Fancy Ray loved you. There's no question about that. He thought you were terrific. No question about it. So this is good news. I mean, I think a lot of people were just terrified. The people who were around, I cannot believe that was 15 years ago already. 2015.
Look how fast time goes. You had dark. Your hair was dark then.
Tevin, years.
Yeah, I had a little more hair. Tevin had a big fro back then.
Actually, you're not wrong.
There you go.
2008.
Am I calling it? Hey.
2008. I definitely had a fro or was just getting rid of it. That stuck out.
Right.
I would play football and it would stick out the ear holes. Yes.
You know what? My hair was exactly the same as it is now.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. Tight.
Now, Josh, not a lot of people are talking in such a positive way on the television shows, whether it's the CNN or the Foxes of the world or whatever, and then they've got their financial shows on CNN and Fox too. I'd never hear them being this positive. Why?
We make better ratings when the world is ending.
Yeah, well, there's your answer.
Don't you know? We're here to scare you into selling everything. A long time ago, I'll say one of the smartest and best long-term investors around, Warren Buffett, would show up on different programs. He'd be asked, and very friendly way, Warren, what do you think of the market? Oh, it's too high. things are too expensive. And sure enough, on his words, that particular day, market would head down. Warren says, it's too expensive. Sell, sell, sell. And then a few weeks later, they interview Warren again. Well, Warren, the last time you were on here a few weeks ago, the market was down. Oh, geez, I was buying. I can't see why people were selling at the time. I was buying.
Because you told everybody that.
Here it is. Let's get somebody to come on, say the world is ending, and people will sell. And the smart people will say, world's not ending. I'm going to buy what all the weak hands were selling. Now, in the stock market, you can have there's a lot of other things going on, because it's not just individuals making buy or sell decisions. You have machines making decisions that are algorithmic trading based on something that somebody had said. Oh, a Fed governor, or in this report said interest rates are going up. Well, if interest rates are going up, we better sell stocks. We don't want to be buying stocks. We want to be either in cash or buying bonds if interest rates are going up. Now, I've made this point for a long time. If interest rates go up, bond values go down. So all you're doing is making an interest rate bet. But anybody that bought bonds earlier this year, when interest rates were a little bit lower, they're losing money. So they have to wait for interest rates to come down to make some money, and that's not necessarily a bet that I'd want to make, because if interest rates do come down, stocks are going to do well, and if interest rates are going up, certain other stocks could also do well. So in other words, Josh, you're saying buy stocks. Yeah, be an owner of an asset, and particularly of companies that have rising sales and rising earnings, and have a product or service that people want. Okay, this year, I'm not buying retailers is very difficult. But this year, a little company called Walmart, did very well. Company like Target, not so well. Target is, had come down and hit a low. It's recovered since their earnings. Amazon, they have a product or service that people want and or need. Last year in 2022, the stock sold off. I was depressed about that. Amazon's a big holding of mine. I couldn't understand. Geez, people are spending money. Their retail business is doing well. Their advertising business is doing well. Their logistics business is doing well. Why is the stock going down? Well, Amazon Web Services was no longer growing at 30% a year, and most large shareholders were owning Amazon because of Amazon Web Services, not because of all the other businesses that Amazon operated.
See, my wife works with AWS all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
everyone does, whether they know it or not.
Probably, yeah, I'm sure. So that's why I was like, oh, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, AWS, and this is, that the fear from a lot of analysts is AWS is not going to grow anymore, or they're going to lose business to Microsoft's Azure or Google's cloud. I don't think so. To install that in any company and make that change, very difficult, time consuming, and exceedingly expensive.
Right. It's not unscrewing a light bulb and swapping it out for LED. You gotta go through a whole process.
No. Not at all.
No.
So I happen to like Amazon for that reason. I mean, other people like Microsoft because of the growth in Azure, and now also Microsoft has become one of the leaders in generative artificial intelligence. So like my father used to say on occasion when he was pissed off at me, "You can be replaced." Well, yeah, see, generative artificial intelligence is the "you can be replaced" moment. But I think it'll take a long time, Dave, until somebody can replace you.
Probably not. They replace me all the time.
There was something I heard about a month ago, and I was not allowed to tell anybody else about it. But now, apparently, the story's broken nationally. Amazon is getting into the car selling business.
Yep.
You found out. You know about this?
Yep. Amazon is going to sell some cars. So they're going to compete with eBay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which a lot of people say eBay sells cars. Yes, eBay is one of the largest sellers of cars around.
What's that going to do to the dealerships around this country if they
help all the dealerships?
You know, help them?
Sure.
Well, looks like they're selling
who's going to where are you going to go pick up your car? Is Amazon going to deliver your car to you like Carvana says they're going to do?
Right.
No, you're going to oh, I can get my car. Here's another place I can get my car on Amazon.
And it looks like they're specifically selling Hyundais.
Yeah, right.
You know, they have a deal with Hyundai.
Yeah.
Well,
they do.
That's wonderful. Hyundai is going to offer their cars through Amazon. So it's just another outlet for Hyundai to sell cars. I'm going to order it there. Where am I going to pick up my Hyundai? I've got to go to the Hyundai dealership to pick up that car.
Yeah.
Or maybe the dealership brings it to my house. So, and Amazon is going to collect a little piece, or as they say, I want a little taste of that. You're going to give me a little taste of that.
This is really called CNN. I don't know. They don't say who said this. Even if this is only useful for minimizing interactions with car salesmen, count me in. That's a little cold. So is that going to hurt car salesmen? Are they even going to need car salesmen anymore?
I don't know. Car salesmen that I know still sell a lot of cars.
Yeah. You're still gonna need car salesmen because there are a lot of people that go, I've never driven this car before. I need to hands-on go see it. But the actual transaction process of it, you not really need a car salesman for that. So
I mean, I would say the car salesmen don't like the final deal. Hey, if we could move all that paperwork to somebody else, then I could go sell more cars.
Yeah, that's the thing is the paperwork is probably 95% of the sale.
You know, for the likes of Carvana, I didn't see a lot of dealerships closing because there's Carvana.
Correct.
That's getting bigger and bigger too, isn't it?
Carvana,
I don't think so.
Not really. It kind of plateaued a few years ago. I feel like.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Now it's just.
No, I mean, it's. You know, if you want to buy a car, you can go out, you go to a dealership and buy a car. The dealerships have made more money on servicing cars, rather than selling cars. Maybe the number of dealership owners, you know, so there are not as many individual there are a lot of different car dealerships around, but they're, instead of being owned, you know, by several people, they're owned by one large company.
Yeah.
So, you know, just like in the Twin Cities, there are just a few people that own all the dealerships, or a few companies that own all the dealerships.
Well, Luther only owns what, 45 dealerships?
Yeah.
45.
Yeah. Well, it's
like, whoa.
The large dealerships have teams of people that purchase cars from the smaller mom and pop dealerships because they're like, oh, we can get this good deal. Now we're just going to turn around and sell it on ours. And so they drive the market that way.
How many dealerships does Walzer have now?
I have no idea, but they're building a ton of them. They have a ton of spots. Pretty much anywhere you drive, you can pass a Walzer dealership.
And all of this stuff helps another little company called Copart.
Right. It's an amazing story. The life has changed quite a bit. There's no doubt about it.
And it's going to continue to change.
Yes, it will. So what else can they do in the car business? So basically just bring the stuff to your house and build it in your garage. I mean, honest to God.
Well, that happened a long time ago. People built cars in their garage.
They did.
When you could build a car in your garage, when you didn't need 85 million computers to run the car.
Well, now you could probably go back and build a car just like that.
Yeah.
Don't know whether it be street legal.
Well, the funny thing is I know just enough to really wreck a car, really make it not run.
Would you ride in a car that I built?
Absolutely not.
There you go. There's your answer.
No,
I got to be honest. Hell no.
Do you know what a screwdriver is?
No, I do not. I told you the story I told Josh the story the other day. When I was drafted back in 1968, I think it was 69, maybe. I was drafted in the Marine Corps. So I go in for my physical. I had a double hernia from lifting weights. So they said, you can't come in. So I never did go in the service. But there was a series of 7 tests that you had to take, right? And Sergeant H-A-I-G-H-T, Sergeant Haight, calls me into his office. He goes, what kind of bullshit are you trying to pull? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you're testing. What are you trying to get out of this? What are you doing? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, well, let me show you something. He takes out the 7 different tests. He goes, the first 6, you aced every one of them, just nailed them. The 7th one, you failed miserably. You did that on purpose. I said, no, I didn't. What's the 7th one? He goes, mechanics. Like, yeah, you're right. I didn't fake that one. I got no idea what it was.
And if there was one test that I wasn't going to fake, I'd rather be a mechanic in the Army than the guy on the front lines that's getting his head blown off. Yeah.
Yeah, he said my answers were so far off the mark. To this day, I got no idea.
No.
I mean, Andy can tell you that anything needs to be put together at our house when he was a kid. It wasn't me putting it together.
No. And my dad's side of the family, they're all the type where if my car is making a funny sound, I just tell them what sound it is, and they go, "Oh yeah, do X, Y, Z, and it'll fix itself." And I can't even change my own oil.
See, I'm
not a car guy.
love to do that stuff, changing my own oil. I am not built to change.
Well,
my oil.
you are not.
I had an '84 Ford pickup. I couldn't get my hand in to get the oil filter off on that truck. I mean, that's like,
well, on these days.
Oh, well, yeah.
You have to take the entire engine out in order to get it half of the stuff.
Yeah, there was a car that I had where you had to remove, just to change the light bulb, you had to remove 6 things from under the hood just to get to the light bulb. It was a disaster.
I suppose that's true. Well, maybe that's why I never had any interest in it, because they made it harder and harder. And I was like, I don't want to deal with this crap. But seriously.
Just take it in.
Yep.
Keep the economy moving. Here are things I'm good at. Here are things I'm not good at. You hire those people to do things that you're not good at.
So basically, I could fix a car if I could just stand in front of it and talk to it. Then I could fix
There
it.
you go. Now that would be a use for generative artificial intelligence.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I feel much happier about this whole deal now because, like, as I said, because, some people know who I am. They'll come up to me on the streets going, Tom, is the economy going to collapse? Or, what are you doing? I said, I will ask people who know, because I have no idea.
Okay, here it is. The economy is not going to collapse. This weekend, which is typically a horrible weekend in Las Vegas.
Oh, the F1?
Booked.
Yeah.
Booked. Now, it's booked primarily for the high-end people.
Is it because it's before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, typically the weekend before Thanksgiving in Las Vegas is a lousy week. But because of Formula One coming to Las Vegas this weekend, it's going to increase the revenue for most of the casino companies. At least they've said at least 5% for this calendar quarter, which will translate into better sales and better earnings, and that could continue going forward. But that's huge. Formula One is going to bring in that much money, that many people? Yes, over a 3-day period.
That's what they say.
Huge. That is, that's an experience type of investment or experience that people want to go to, different from going to Walmart or Target to get underwear. We want to spend on this experience. I'll say my significant other's daughter.
There you go.
Is a Swiftie.
Mm-hmm. What a shock.
Okay. Loves Taylor Swift, has been to concerts all over the country. Again, here's Taylor Swift is now a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
People want to go to her concerts, have that experience. Here's a company, Live Entertainment, which sells, also does Ticketmaster and a few other things, puts on concerts. They've done very, very well over the last several years. People want to spend money on experiences, not on buying underwear. So that part of the economy looks good. How do I get to this concert? Well, if it's local, I'm not going to take my car and park. I'm going to take Uber or a Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody uses cabs anymore, but I'm going to take an Uber. And there's another company that is experiential, or so that benefits. Or as we said, what I said earlier, I'm going to check out on Expedia or bookings.com, formerly known as Priceline, to book my flights or hotel or Airbnb or Vrbo to go someplace else. So that's the experience, and that type of thing I think is only going to increase, not decrease.
Yeah, I would think that's probably true. I would imagine. We got about 4 or 5 minutes. Any other subjects you'd like to bring up to Josh? I like the fact that the economy is not going to collapse. I like that. That works for me. You know what I mean? A lot of people are worried about that, though. So I'm sure if they're listening right now, they're in a much more even keel manner than because why don't people? Maybe you can close with this one. Why isn't there? And you talked about this earlier. It's about driving listenership and ratings and all the rest of it. They have no interest in making you feel better about anything.
Right.
The worse you feel, the bigger their numbers get. Will there be anybody on national television going on and saying, "Hey, the economy's not going to collapse. Don't worry about it"? Well,
no,
they just won't do that, will they?
No. I mean,
that's a horrible thing to do.
Start even looking at all the people that are running for office.
Yeah.
And what they're saying.
Yep.
I'm going to fight for you. We need to, the guy who is running things now is running the economy down. Mm-hmm. If I come in, I'm going to change the economy.
Right.
Okay. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Because the way you can get the economy better is, at least in my view, is you reduce taxes and cut certain regulations. And in particular, if you cut the tax on capital gains, one that frees up, allows people to sell things that they might have accumulated because it's a lower tax rate, so they're not keeping it. If you lower people's income taxes or make some type of flat tax, they have more money to spend and or create another business, which will hire people who will pay taxes, which goes to one of my things. Oh, Jeff Bezos doesn't pay his fair share in taxes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
he does pay his fair share in taxes, and he pays a lot in taxes. Plus, he happened to create a small business that employs just a few people, and other businesses have been created off of that. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm happy. that type of thing excites me.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, though, because you just said that, Dave, you stand in front of him. Yuta was right. Mita was left and Andy behind him, because you just talked about lowering taxes in Minnesota. You could be physically attacked leaving this building.
and also to defend you for saying that Jeff Bezos pays his fair share in taxes. He wrote a check, very small amount, $1.4 billion in personal federal taxes. So
Jesus.
I think he paid more than enough.
1.4 billion.
Yes, billion with a B.
Well, it's a semantic trickery thing,
But he didn't
because
pay his fair share. I think he paid more than his fair share.
it has something to do with, like, he doesn't pay personal income tax.
No, I'm just one of those.
And
The
that's
only
all
tax
people.
that I don't mind seeing increase is my property taxes, because
your
property is worth more than
my property's worth more. I can see where a lot of the property taxes go to improve bridges, roads, and services, as well as education in my hometown, so to speak.
Andy, you were making a point?
No, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, you want to get out the door?
Well, there is that.
It's like at the end of class when the teacher asks any questions, and everyone's like, no.
We want to go home.
All right, that's going to do it. Talk to you next week.
Got a picture in my pocket reminds me of this one was before. Every time I get the same, reminds me how you talking my door.